When I shut my feelings down, you look at me like I'm different. Still you stay cause you feel something real. Get so lost in my moments. Doesn't mean I don't need you. I fell in love with your colors. They kinda tell me what I'm thinking. I fell in love with the way we are and the way we lose it. There's something different about us, and the reason why we stay. We fly around like paper planes. They never know where we will fall. Nobody can see us, still they wanna tear us apart. There's something different about the way we are. There's something different about us. 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 We're pouring cup after cup after cup. Yeah, it's just the way we do it. Anything just to block out the real life, real life. Yeah, we love in the way they think we're so messed up. Even if what we're doing is bad, there's so many emotions. Sharing stories that we never had, yeah, none is real. I think we're searching for reasons not to be like them. We fly around like paper planes. They never know where we will fall. Nobody can see us, still they wanna tear us apart. There's something different about the way we are. There's something different about us. 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 There's something different about the way we are. There's something different about us. There's something different about the way we are. There's something different about us. What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths.
It's a beautiful Sunday, and what a great Sunday for Clash Royale. This is going to be a great one. 16 players in a single elimination tournament fighting for just 4 spots in our grand final. Hello, welcome. I'm Rich Slayton. Joining me is Eric Benamou for the Clash Royale Masters Sunday Last Chance Qualifier Bracket. And Eric, we've got a lot of big names in here, some small names in here, but most importantly, we have 4 spots at our finals on the line.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun today. Like you said, some very big names. And when you guys see the matchups, you're going to get really excited. Even from the first round, there were some, lucky draws for us as casters, but definitely some unlucky draws for the players. And like you said, it's single elimination, 4 players move on. So you only have one best of 3 really as that's it. Like you play one best of 3, you lose it, you're done. There's no more qualifiers, there's no more LCQ, nothing. Everything is on the line today.
And we saw a lot of wild stuff yesterday, of course, some crazy finishes, maybe some people losing track of spells here and there, and of course today it's going to be even more tense as there are no second chances. You could get in with 1 loss yesterday, but 1 loss today, of course, means you're out. We'll get to our format here in just a couple of moments. Eric, we have some great matchups. We'll look at our bracket a little bit after this one, and we'll kind of break down some of those, but what are we doing today? This is day 2. Day 1, yesterday we had 4 Swiss brackets, 4 groups where they played through, and the top 4 advanced. Well, now we have the top 4 from each group. 16 players, single elimination bracket. The top 4 will make it. We are playing all the way through our semifinals, 3rd place game, and finals to determine seeding for these 5th through 8th spots going into our championship next weekend. But of course, those 4 players will secure their line all the way through. And Eric, yesterday we saw some great stuff, but of course we have some pretty big players in the mix today.
Yeah, there's a guy that some people know called Mohammed Light, I think is his name. I don't really remember all that well. I think he's kind of new in the scene. Probably an up-and-coming talent. We also have people like Wallace, Adriel. There's just players that are at the top of the game for as long as we've been casting this whole year, and they're all going head-to-head today. You cannot move on without beating at least one of those players. And yes, we have some names that maybe you're not all that familiar with, right? You have someone like COK who ended up the day yesterday beating Mo, and he is a top ladder player here and there, but he hasn't been as consistent to get his name out as much as everyone else. And I think we're gonna have maybe 1 or 2 upsets today.
Well, maybe. Let's see what they're playing for, because again, it's not just spots, but part of the prize pool. In our first 3 weekends for those open qualifiers, we had $15,000 of that $25,000 prize pool given away. This is the LCQ. No money this weekend, but a shot at the playoffs next weekend. 4 players will make it into that $10,000 weekend, where we will have $5,000 as the grand prize, and even just making it to that top 8 is going to get you at least $100. So making it through this last chance qualifier, making it the next weekend, puts you in the prize pool with a pretty nice chunk there at the top. And of course, there are some favorites, but it's going to be just 8 players playing their way through a little bit more than we've had this weekend. But Eric, we've talked about it a whole lot. It's making its way into CRL. It's making its way here. That single elimination is oh so stressful.
It is. You only have 1 shot, and when this much money is on the line, and not only money, but you always want to win competitions like this with other top players. It makes a real name for yourself, especially going into World Finals. A lot of these players are there, so if you can gain that confidence a couple of weeks before that World Finals, that would be huge. I know how it feels. I know how it is to compete, and when you're riding high and you're that person that won, or that team that won the last competition before the big one, you feel better than everyone else, and you also can intimidate other players just a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, we're going to take a look at some of those players in just a couple moments here. The bracket, it's absolutely stacked. And here's how we're going to go through things today. We do have 16 players in these BO3s. And that first round, we're going to have a featured match. And I bet you can guess which match that's going to be. Mohammed Light versus Adriel, the current #1 in the world and possible a top contender for 2022. Then we will watch all 4 of the matches in the quarterfinals and all the remaining matches from there forward. But of course, that round of 16, we will have just our featured match. But these are some great matchups. Now, Eric, besides that Adriel Mohammed Light matchup, what stands out to you as some great stuff here in the round of 16?
I really like that Goku and COK match at the top. Like I said, COK is someone that has done very well, has a very high ceiling when it comes to his talent. And Goku is someone that has performed really well in those semi-pro leagues, but hasn't been able to break through onto that CRL level just yet. I think that match is going to be really, really good. Obviously, I don't know all that well Nova Matt, but Mini Minter is a top contender for today as well. And Matt did just as good or better than most of the players, right? So, I mean, maybe we get an upset early on in the first round.
It's very, very possible. And of course, you do see some Japanese names in there as well. We did have Curry, who kind of had a breakout showing yesterday, and of course, Grieco, who's going to be in here as well. So some pretty nasty names here. And we're going to be getting into our first match of the day in just a moment. So our featured match in the round of 16, for those of you watching, whether you're watching on Twitch or YouTube, is going to be Mohamed Light versus Adriel. So let's hear you in the chat right now. Is it going to be Adriel or will it be Mohamed Light? And Eric, you know, it almost seems like a question. I know it's not worth asking, but this does feel like if there's any matchup that Mo could have pulled in numbers in that round of 16, this is the one time worth asking. So do you pick Mo here or is it Adriel?
I mean, I never bet against Mo. It just doesn't work out well percentage wise, and I'm a guy that likes to win. You know, I like to win the prediction. I like to win whatever I'm in. So I'm just gonna play it safe and go with Mo. But like you said, if there's one prediction for today for Mo, it's definitely this. We saw Adriel play phenomenal yesterday.
And I'm looking at the chat right now. Let's see. Lord Baelish picking Momo, of course, is what Lord Baelish is saying for this one. I am seeing a few more. Let's see. Tank It says Adriel beats Momo, ends up winning the entire bracket. Very good call there. Jack picking Mohamed. Ferris picking Mohamed. Lot for Mo Light as well. And Latak saying Adriel is insanely good. He can definitely take out Mo. They're going to have to go with Mo. And I think that's probably the number one pick here, right? Is he can do it, but how do you bet against the number one player in the world?
Yeah, exactly that. I guess everyone, look, the thing is that a lot of the winners, you always want the underdog to win, but Mo is such a likable guy by everyone in the community that he doesn't get that same treatment, right? Like when I was on Liquid and we won, everyone was like, no, I hope Liquid loses. I want the underdog. I want the underdog. Same thing with a lot of the teams. But Mo is just loved by everyone, so no one really wants the underdog to win. They just want Mo to keep winning. And I mean, he's shown no sign of slowing down. Obviously, that last match yesterday has to give Adriel some sort of hope. Do it also.
And that's certainly possible. You talk about Adriel, you know, why are we so high on this guy? Well, not only is he a 8.5K player, not only has he been around the scene for maybe longer than some of you might suspect, but the run he's been on as of late, what he's done in a lot of competitions like the Bren Chong Cup in the summer, the I Stay Home Cup 2, which he won, right? These are some pretty big competitions that he's performed well in at this level. So it's not like he's an untested rookie who's only done well outside of top-tier competition. He has shown multiple times within the last year and a half, within these last 2 years, that he's capable of hanging with the best in the world.
Absolutely. And he's trained with the best as well, right? Like he's been there training with Ruben and all of the Team Queso players from back in the day. He's been there with the absolute top level talent, and that's why he's also this good. Like you said, a lot of people don't know how long he's been around, but I could say he's been around since day one and competing at a high level.
And ignore the crowns on the left-hand side. They're going to reset the screen real quick. This is game number 1 of Adriel versus Mohamed Light, so they are 0-0 so far, and looking like a P.E.K.K.A. bridge spam variation coming out for Mo and Lava Miner guards for Adriel.
Yeah, the guards are definitely a great tool to have, especially also when you do have Electro Dragon in this specific lava deck. That is a great call from Adriel, and it's not looking great deck choice wise here for Mo Light, which I don't think we say very often.
Yeah, that's one of those hard ones. But again, you know, you talk about having a full day to prepare for one best of 3, and on one side you do have Mo and of course Julesy making some great picks here. But Adriel has been good in making picks overall throughout his competition, and of course very, very talented on the micro side as well. So, you know, it's one of those things where you can try to outgame, but outgaming doesn't always work. And as we go past the midway point of regulation time, so far we have a good matchup for Adriel and the lead at 22-78 to 27-86.
Yeah, he has 3 different answers for the Ram Rider Pega push in the guards, the Electro Dragon, and the Goblin Cage. So as long as he can always keep maybe at least 2 of those in cycle, I don't think he should ever be pressuring with the Electro Dragon. Just straight up use it for defense the whole match, as well as the guards. Maybe force out a spell here or something. Not going to get the spell, but Electro Dragon is able to be used. That was an odd fireball.
A strange one indeed, and the Ram Rider gets deep in with a piggy behind, so that's going to be a lot of damage, kind of a almost devastating amount of damage on the left-hand side here for Adriel as we go into double elixir time. He does have a pretty good opportunity to come back here, though, with a ton of damage. Flying Machine not tanked for by the Miner, but still damage in 552 the mark on that right-hand tower.
Yeah, the snowball actually does not catch the Flying Machine there from Mo, so he was able to connect directly onto tower. And I think if Adriel just cleans up his defense a little bit more, this should be an 100% win for him. This is probably the best matchup you're going to get against Mo. He's usually very on point with all of his matches. And here we go. Electro Dragon going to do work. Definitely a lot better than that fireball. And I think if he would have just used that, we would probably see a fully healthy tower on that left-hand side.
Flying Machine does get picked up by the Bandit. Bandit will dash, but not very consequential at this stage. Poison working on that high Flying Machine, but as the Miner comes in and not even worrying about the E-Wiz, this is a nice bit of damage here, and we're one fireball away from getting this thing finished.
Yeah, that's going to be GG, well played. He's going to set up with Cage, Electro Dragon, guards, everything on that left-hand side, and there's no way he could make it through. So Mo already down 0-1. Adriel, look, it wasn't the perfect match that we saw yesterday when he was playing, but it was the perfect deck choice for sure.
Very, very nicely picked here for Adriel in match number 1. So game 1 does go to the young star up against Mohamed Light. And as we go out of here for a second, we'll give you some updates on the other round 1 matchups. Remember, we are only featuring this one matchup in the round of 16. And then, of course, we'll pick up with all the matches starting quarterfinals. So at the moment, Goku is up 1-0 on COK in our 16 versus number 1 seed matchup. Mini Minter has lost game number 1. Nova Matt is ahead of him at the moment. Magma has 1 win over Greco. So Magma's up 1-0 on Greco, and Wallace is up 1-0 on Joel Mendo. So those are our current matchups. We do have a few other ones, including some really fun ones, Curry versus Mao. And of course, Abdo Hudo or Abdo Judo is up against our one-time monthly winner in Ta.
Yeah, and I mean, I called a little bit of a possible upset there against Mini Minter with Nova Matt yesterday, really performing well. And he's up 1-0 already, so Mini really has to turn it on, especially seeing how he has a lot more on the line, in my opinion. He needs to regain that form that he was at earlier. So playing a lot more matches is going to do that for him as well. And I mean, Wallace isn't going to fail me, you know. I called Wallace yesterday. I called him for Worlds. Just give him all the 2-0s. Give him all the 2-0s. Wallace is taking it today.
Wallace certainly on a run, so we'll see if he can finish this one out, and we'll keep you with those updates very soon. Some commentary in the chat here. First, Camilla Rose saying there are actual competitions on this game. Hey, yeah, for quite a long time. In fact, I'm Rich Slayton, that's Eric Benham. We are both casters for a thing called Clash Royale League, professional Clash Royale with a $1 million prize pool coming up. Tune in December 3rd through 5th. See some picks and questions from Latak here. Latak saying that Mo takes game number 2 for sure, in his opinion, with all cards available. Adriel down 8. Hard to pick against him. And Windsor saying that he believes that Adriel plays Golem next game.
I don't think you play Golem against Mo. That's, in my opinion, it's a bad call. He'll always catch you off cycle. He'll defend really well with a quick cycle deck. But I don't agree with Latak in the sense that all the cards aren't available to Mo, because when you look at that deck, what cards are really that you know, needed in the decks that are in the current meta? Other than Fireball, he used Electro Dragon, Guards, Lava Hound, Flying Machine. Like, all these cards are not really those big hitter cards. You still have all the cycle decks. You have everything that you need, the Mega Knights, the Graveyards, whatever you want to use. I don't think he used a deck that really took out as big of cards as needed. He could even run RG Lightning with the Mother Witch and all these other decks.
Very, very true, and that's why we have you here, is for the analysis of breaking down those decks. And just to toot your own horn a little bit, or toot your horn a bit more here, Eric, the first person through to our quarterfinals is none other than Wallace. Wallace got his 2-0, so he's sitting awaiting the winner of the Curry versus Mao matchup as we jump into game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching Wallace play, man, and he is something else right now. He's definitely the best I've ever seen him at, so that's why I'm so hyped on him for this World Finals and for today, and obviously next weekend. Today's a big weekend, but next weekend is the real big, you know, it's the finals. It's what everyone has played all those qualifiers for, so I'm really excited.
What do you think about this cycling Mega Knight call here by Adriel? I mean, he cycles Mega Knight, and immediately the first thing we see is 4 pigs at that right-hand tower.
Yeah, 4 pigs on the right-hand tower, and it doesn't get easier than an Ice Golem, Magic Archer, Mini P.E.K.K.A defense. This is going to take out a lot of health here from the Fisherman as well, if not take it out completely, and it does. So I think he put himself in a weird position there, but this Ghost should be able to at least tank the Hunter's first hit. And ooh.
Wow, so perfect play by Mohamed Light. Adriel goes a little bit aggressive early on, spends 11 elixir in the first couple of moments. Mega Knight cycled again. You've seen the first card, Skeletons. What makes you comfortable enough to cycle Mega Knight like that?
Yeah, I'm not too sure either. That Skelly showing could be absolutely anything. It could be any cycle, and if he catches you off guard and you don't have enough elixir, even if it was a Wall Breaker's drill deck, right, you would have taken so much damage by not having that. Yes, you have arrows, but it looks like that was later down his cycle as well. So I think it was a pretty big mistake there from Adriel, and not something we're used to seeing from him.
Very, very interesting, and in a matchup where he does have one key component on defense here in that MK. So we'll see if he can recover as we go into double elixir time. The lead by a mile, Mohamed Light. And again, now just going full send here. I guess sacking tower is Adriel.
Yeah, but that's another bad call. The Mini P.E.K.K.A is there. We know how good his defenses are, and this time around, the Hunter's going to do a lot of work as well. Yes, it's going to get out the tower, and this might be a tower trade, but he spent so much. He really went through 2 cycles, and it's not even a guaranteed tower down either.
Let's see if Adriel has something that he can take care of here, but Ram Rider connects. Lightning arrows will do it, but he has to spend 9 elixir and pretty much leave this tower on its own. Can he get back around? 20 seconds left. Mega Knight not going to be enough on its own. Will get easily controlled. And he plays the Fisherman here.
Yeah, that's it. That's game over for this game number 2. I'm not too sure what the plan was from him. I don't think he'll be able... Is that enough?
It's not. I totally miscalculated there. I thought he had a little bit more damage in there, and maybe he did too. 24 HP is left on the tower, and Adriel kind of, we don't know what the result would have been had they played it out correctly, but man, it kind of felt like he threw in game number 2.
That was a throw. I'll say it 100%. There was no shot that Mo could really do anything if he was playing that Mega Knight onto those hoggies, and all the damage came in from free hogs. It was 2 full free hog pushes that came onto the tower, and even with that, look how low he got the tower from Mo. So I think if he just would have played calm, waited his turn to actually go on offense, played that Mega Knight, pushed it with a counter, maybe a Ghost in front of the Mega Knight, forcing out that Mini P.E.K.K.A, and then going the other lane with that Ram Rider, it should have been an easy game for him. Not too sure the reasoning behind the way he played it. Maybe he's just not comfortable with that type of deck, but I think Mo caught a break there.
Yeah, that's a big one, and a lot of people in the chat here saying that he was nervous, and that's an interesting one, right? Because Adriel's not inexperienced. He's won major events like this one, major events with that are more stacked with high-level talent than this one even is.
Yeah, and I think the nerves thing would have affected him in game 1. You don't really get nervous after you're up, right? You get nervous when it's 0-0, you see the bracket, and you're like, okay, I got Mo. If I lose this first game, I'm probably in a terrible position. But once you're up 1-0, that's not really when it affects you. That's when you could kind of loosen up, and maybe he just got too loose with it, too much confidence, and he didn't expect Mo to really have those hoggies ready. But like you said, cycling Skellies doesn't show you anything to the point where you should feel comfortable cycling such a heavy cart.
After having already cycled your Inferno Dragon on top of that. Yeah. So that's a lot of elixir down the drain, a lot of your 2 primary defenses, your defense for a heavy troop. You know, if he was against RG, there's your defense gone. If you're against Hog or Royal Hogs, there's your defense gone. So very interesting choice here out of Adriel in game number 1. So as we take a look at their decks from game 1 and game 2, let me go ahead and pull those ones up here. It's Adriel winning game number 1 with Lava Miner E-Drag, Fireball out for Adriel after game number 1, and Cage out as well. And then in game number 2, it's Mohamed winning with, and this is actually nice for him, Hunter and Mini P.E.K.K.A. and Ice Golem. So 3 really outside of the meta cards being used in game number 2. It does feel like Adriel has the much more difficult picking to do in game 3 than Mohamed Light.
I agree with that, because as far as cards that don't impact the meta as much, yes, Adriel's wasn't really as impactful either, but the fact that you won with Ice Golem, Hunter, and Mini P.E.K.K.A., that's literally not in any other deck. The only deck that I've seen that in is that that Electro Wizard Hunter kind of snipe to air when you run it with the Mega Knight and the Graveyard, but I don't think that's Mo's type of deck anyway, so I don't think he took anything out for himself. And yeah, when it comes to available cards after the wins, I would definitely go with Mo's side of it, mainly just because of the fact that, look, the Fireball is out there from Adriel, and you really want that with the cards he has left. It's not that you need it, but the cards he has left, like the RGs and all those different P.E.K.K.A. decks that are available to him, they run really well with Fireball.
Latak making the pick in the Twitch chat that Mo goes with a Fireball bait deck, maybe Mother Witch Pigs. So that's certainly one of those ones. Here, this becomes the hard question, right? That is the obvious direction to go, but also it is the obvious direction to go. So it's kind of a 50-50 on that one. Quick note, I see some of you asking for the gameplay. As soon as the players start the game, we'll jump in. We're not making them wait for us to talk. We're talking as we wait for them. So as soon as we get there, of course, we'll jump on in. But yeah, that's the big question, Eric, and you've been in this position many times. The obvious choice is Fireball bait, but that's also the obvious choice. What's the second choice that you think should be in the hole here for Mo?
I think Mo should just stick to, you know, something that he's comfortable with. I don't think Mo should be making adjustments for anyone. I truly believe that. I think he could outplay anything that's not an 100-0 or a 90-10. So if you want to go with a minor type of deck, I would do that. Miner or Mortar or something along those lines. That's where Mo shines, and it could be a pretty close to a mirror here, possibly. And there's the Miner deck from Mo. Yeah.
And there you go. So it's looking like this might be a variation on that Miner control deck that's so popular right now in global challenges or in grand challenges right now. People are playing Miner control with the Golden Knight. Obviously no champions allowed this weekend, so we're not going to see that specific deck, and it is Hog for Adriel. So I saw someone call Hog in the chat there. Nice pick there. I think that was Memo picking the Hog deck for Adriel, so well picked, Memo.
Yeah, but let's see if he can break through. It's going to be really tough against this deck, because the one good thing about that type of Hog deck is that it usually outcycles what you're playing against. But here, he can even get outcycled. Mo's deck is so quick that he no longer has that advantage to the point where, oh, I could just spell cycle him because I'm so much quicker in getting back to my EQ. Mo is actually quicker back to his spells and his Miner.
2107, the mark on the right-hand side, as Mo just puts some stack, and those bats in are actually going to be kind of annoying here for Adriel.
Yeah, that does quite a bit of damage there to the Musketeer, to the point where it's a lot easier to defend, and it forces it out before he wanted to use it. You know, that Musketeer would have never come down if those bats were not there. He could have defended that with Spear Goblins, but Mo, a little bit of a push forward there on the Musketeer allows it to get a hit.
Yeah, that timing can work out well, but didn't work out this time, and Mo still going to the essentially the number 1 spot, the outside front corner, as opposed to varying things up. And you saw Adriel expecting the variance and going to the number 3, that inside front corner spot. So as we go into double elixir time, Mo has the lead, and oh boy, that's a big problem for Adriel.
Yeah, he missed that by just the tiniest of margins there, but that's a risk you take when you try to go ahead and predict it. If you don't predict it, you probably won't get any damage anyway, so you might as well go for it and try, but it definitely hurts when it's that close. And look, Adriel has not caught one single Miner yet.
And the lane switch now for the Hog Rider, but not going to get much in the way of damage, and way behind right now is the young man, Mohamed Light, putting on a clinic saying, hey, you know what, you might be what's next, but I am what's right now. Damage lead like crazy right now as we are approaching sudden death.
Yeah, and this is why Mo should never make adjustments for any player, man. He is so solid with this Miner play. The defenses have been absolutely perfect. I don't think I've seen one mistake out of him other than that one log that pushed the Musketeer forward, but it didn't really make an impact there. He's going to go ahead and Knight here. Takes one Hog hit. No.
Now, why is he still playing Tesla low in EQ range rather than playing Tesla high? Is it just he doesn't feel like he has the way to catch the Musketeer?
If he plays the Tesla high, the Musketeer will get one shot before he gets his troop down with how much elixir he had in hand. So it's probably better just to have that Earthquake prediction go in than the Musketeer doing more damage on top of that Tesla, and then you being forced to play a little bit late on that night. I think if he has a full bar of elixir, then you might see him do it a little bit higher with the knight coming down as a prediction to that Musketeer.
And Fireball does finally get in, trying to predict the Spear Goblins there, I believe. But instead, it's the Royal Delivery that comes down. So Mohamed Light going to be down a little bit on elixir with a knight in both lanes now, and Hog put to the left.
Yeah, he tanks that knight to make sure that it cannot tank for that Hog Rider, and even though he takes damage, he's not too worried. That tower is down to 543. He has a quick cycle, Fireball and Log as well. If he can't catch this, it's gonna... Oh, and he missed that Fireball as well. That's gonna push the knight back and give it one more hit, and that is it. One Log and Mo is through.
There you go, Mohamed Light, #1 player in the world for a reason, and we just saw him take the young man to school. GG, well played, the Prince of Egypt. Moving on to our quarterfinals. No big surprises there, Eric.
No, not at all. I mean, we all knew there was a chance for Adriel to win, but this game 3 was Mo playing his comfort. I mean, good luck, man. I'm sorry, but if he was able to get one game while still having all those cards available to him, it's going to be a rough third match.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough third match indeed. And of course, we do have some third matches still ongoing, so we'll see what production sends us into. I know Awesome MK and our Argentinian player, Agus, are both still locked in a heated battle. And it does look like Greco and Magma. If we can catch up with Greco and Magma, you guys there in the production booth, yeah, that would be amazing. That's the other big matchup here. And some updates here. Of course, we mentioned earlier, Wallace has already moved on to the next round. So has Ta. Ta took out Abdo Judo, so Ta has moved on to the next round, awaiting the winner of Adriel Mohamed Light. Oh, that's going to be Mohamed Light versus Ta. Man, that's going to be a good matchup there.
Yeah.
And then, wow.
That one's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I know it's funny because when I usually stream and I would watch like end of season or I would do a tournament myself, I would always kind of follow Mo, and people would be like, you know, there's other players, but yeah, but we all really want to watch Mo, and he always happens to go against other top players as well. So I don't know what it is about his luck. He always has that.
Yep, and here we go. We'll get you the updates on a few more of those matches as they finish, but right now, we're going to jump right into our first quarterfinal. It was Goku taking out COK, so our #1 seed falling to our #16 seed. So we'll be going to that match in a moment as Mini Minter went out 2-1 to Nova Matt. So Matt or Mate, I don't see an accent there, so I'll call him Matt.
Yeah.
Nova Matt going to take on Goku in our first quarterfinal.
I'm ready for it. It's quarterfinal time. I like the way that we got the one really good match in the first round, and now we get to just watch all the people that have already won. And so this is a good judge of who had the easier matchup, because if you do see a very lopsided, you know, like 2-0, you say, okay, he got a little bit of the nicer draw, and now moving forward, it's going to be a little more difficult. And whoever's on Mo's side is just going to get more difficult, whether you like it or not, unless someone can go ahead and upset him before those finals or that 3rd and 4th place match, because it is possible. It is one best of 3.
And we have a guy who's had the luck in his pocket before. That's going to be our second quarterfinal, Mohamed Light versus Ta. So we'll go ahead and see if Ta can make magic strike again and get a big-time win over the best in the business. And then our third quarterfinal match now set. It is going to be Magma against Agus from Argentina. So that's going to be a good one as well.
Yeah, it is going to be. I'm very curious to see Agus play, just because I really have never seen him play. I'm not sure who it is. So this is that moment where you hop into a match and you don't really know what to expect.
And here we go, taking a look at the bracket. You can see the breakdown now, and we do have our final of our quarterfinals, Wallace and Mao. Mao getting past Curry, so Mao will go into that spot, and we do only have one of our 3 Japanese players remaining. That is Ta, as we did see Greco go down to Magma, so the American gets the win on that one. So this is our quarterfinals. We will be seeing all of these matches, those of you watching at home, whether you're watching on Twitch or YouTube, and I see a lot of you here on Twitch. I see a bunch of octopi in the chat right now over on Twitch. We'll be seeing all of these, and I believe we are starting with Goku and Nova Matt. So right now in the chat, I don't know how many of you know these players because they are not the biggest ones on this one. But if you're in the chat right now, give us your votes. Will it be Goku in our first quarterfinal, or will it be Nova Matt? And my guess here, Eric, is that you're going with Goku in this match.
I am going with Goku for sure. I've known him and I've just seen him play for a lot longer time, obviously, than Nova Matt. But I don't think Goku is at a level where anyone here could not be, you know, a 50-50 match. I think there are very few players moving forward, and by very few players, I mean Mo and Wallace, that are really ahead of everyone else, in my opinion. I think everyone else is pretty even when we're looking at it. They've all had amazing moments in their career, but they've also had lows. And, you know, inconsistency in careers usually leads to inconsistency in tournaments as well. And here, one bad round and you're done.
And I'm seeing a lot of picks right here for Goku. I have seen maybe one pick for Nova Matt. So let's go ahead and jump into our first quarterfinal, as Goku is running something fairly quick cycle. And Matt may be similar here, as we're seeing Skeletons, Fire Spirit, and it's going to be Drill Wall Breakers for Nova Matt.
Yeah, and a good catch there with the cannon cart off the bat, so no damage going to come in from this right now. Is he able to keep it? He does have 1 health on it, but it still will go down. He doesn't need to do anything else for it. I'm not too sure on that bomber play, because that bomber will probably go down. Okay, forced out the Valk as well. And at this point, I think he's just cycling. Maybe you might even see something else here coming down for the Musketeer if he wants to use it.
So looking like Muskie GUI here for Goku, the Costa Rican player. Never mind. Sorry, immediately it's Royal Hogs after the EQ. That should have been a nice tip there as well. I didn't see the Earthquake come out. Goku's the 8.5K player out of Costa Rica with a lot of experience in no-tilt worlds, playing for his native country. But as far as solo competitive play, it's just a couple good deep rounds into the Swiss for CRL, but nothing really beyond that.
Yeah, and I believe he played in a couple of those, you know, the no-tilt, like the semi-pro league that they had as well back in the day, and he did pretty well in those. But like I said, he's never really been able to actually break through into that CRL. And I mean, the only way to get to that is winning tournaments like this, in my opinion. You need to gain your confidence from somewhere. You need to be able to believe that, okay, look, I showed up here, I played the same type of players, and I actually was able to win. Before you can truly, you know, commit and move on to CRL, you need a couple of those wins.
So here we go. So far, no big damage in for Nova Matt. Goku, of course, was a brief member of Team Liquid Academy in the No-Tilt League, so some familiarity there here for Team Liquid's head coach, Eric Benamou. And at the moment, does have a pretty nice lead here in what's a fairly unique version of Royal Hogs EQ.
Yeah, and just, I'm not taking any credit. I did not pick anything that went on with that no-tilt. I was there as support. I would help them on the best ways to strategize for a game and set up the practices and all of that. But that was all on Corona and full frontage for picking that roster. And I mean, that roster was kind of sick. They did kind of discover CR Sucks, who had an amazing season there and then moved on to play in CRL as well. So that's another testament to, you know, how important that semi-pro leagues are and all that. That's your real stepping stone. If you can do well there, people are watching.
So here we go into our final 2 minutes, sudden death overtime. And as the bomber gets cycled behind on that right-hand side, cannon cart to pressure. And that cannon cart feels more like it's designed to do exactly what you see, which is suck out that Inferno Tower, than to actually create real pressure on tower.
Yeah, and he's doing a phenomenal job right now, but the problem is he's always able to get anytime he's able to get the Hoggies down, Matt's cycle is so quick that he's always able to have either the Valkanado or he's able to have that Fire Spirit, the Fireball. He has just so many counters to those Hoggies that it's really hard for me to even understand how he's winning right now.
Pigs into that left-hand side, Fireball plus Skellies will shut things down, and just like that, not winning anymore. Yeah, Matt doing a great job catching up, and it's interesting to see him going with an Inferno Tower variation. Obviously, Tesla is the building of the year in many ways, and a pretty central part of this matchup usually.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when you look at this matchup, this should have been the result since the beginning, in my opinion. There is no splash damage coming in from Goku for that drill. He doesn't have a Valk. He doesn't even have a Knight. He has to use that cannon cart every single time to catch that drill, which doesn't allow him to actually pressure the right way. And then that Inferno Tower, even though it's not a great you know, the greatest of towers versus Royal Hogs, it does soak up that whole earthquake as well. So, I mean, it is a lot closer than I'd expect it to be.
This is an interesting sequence here out of Goku on the left-hand side, but it does get shut down right at the top. And Nato to make some room, and that was hopefully for Matt, was going to be the killing blow here. Doesn't get it done, but should be enough to secure the victory for him. EQ not going to help. Fireball in with the drill, and that's going to be a GG. Well played. Nova Matt takes game number 1 in our first quarterfinal.
Yeah, got a lot closer than I thought it was going to get, to be 100% honest. I feel like Goku got a lot extra damage. I'm not even sure how or when. It just seemed like pushes would end up in like 200-300 chip damage that you thought would get to absolutely nothing. Obviously, the earthquake does help a lot in chipping away at that tower constantly, and it is a positive elixir trade against that Infernal tower. That is one of the benefits to having earthquake versus Infernal tower, as opposed to if you have it against something like Cage or Tesla, you don't really benefit as much from that elixir. And I think that was the only, I guess, leg up that he had in this matchup.
Well, he was able to hold on for a while, but in the end, it was Nova Matt taking the win here. And, you know, you look on paper, and this really should be Goku's match on paper, but this is just a single elimination matchup. You know, you have Goku, who has lots of competitive experience, 8.5K player. Nova Matt, whose personal best is 8,000, still phenomenal, but not phenomenal at this level, right? 20-win challenge winner once, but the 17-win badge on the other side. Ended up ranked in the top 2,000 for CRL over the course of this year. So on paper, you're looking at that and go, okay, this guy shouldn't be able to compete at the highest level, but gets a great matchup at game number 1, and that shows just how important maybe some analysis will be.
Analysis is extremely important, especially in duels format. And not to mention, look, Goku should have matched, like you said, overall on talent-wise what we see on paper, but Matt just beat Mini Minter. He is not here.
True.
You know, he did not have an easy first round matchup. He took out Mini Minter, who's even higher placed than this matchup right here against Goku, right? So, I mean, I think confidence is definitely not lacking from Nova Matt, and it also could just be from the time of that 20-win challenge, and I'm not sure exactly which ladder season he had that 8,000. Sometimes ladder seasons do finish at 8,000 while others finish at 8,400. Could have been a very hard thing to do, and maybe he's just now really finding his form as well. So, I mean, analysis on point, matchup, yes, but he still played decent.
And he most certainly, and take a look at the chat, I see some people talking about what their personal bests are. I see Mr. James, that guy, saying, I have 4,731 trophies, but I'm still trying to find a good deck. Well, good luck, Mr. James, that guy. Of course, watching some of these players might give you some good ideas, and hopefully you can take away something from watching the top-tier pros play top-tier Clash Royale.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the best ways to learn is from watching the top players. You obviously have to then go and apply that, and it will take time for you to apply it. You have to go into matches, and one thing I always tell people that ask me, how do I get better? What's the best strategy? The best strategy you can have is to never make excuses for why you lost or say that it was bad luck, because it's 99% of the time it is not bad luck. You do not lose a chess game through luck. You lose it because you probably made 1 or 2 bad moves that led you to that. And it's the same thing with Clash. So go back, watch your games, understand why you lost, and the only way you can get better is really admitting, oh, okay, this was a bad play on my end.
Well, speaking of bad plays, Matt's going real hardcore in our opening game, and this kind of feels not dissimilar to what we saw out of Adriel in the last one. Of course, this one might turn out okay for him, but still, he's spending a whole lot for not a ton here in these opening moments.
Yeah, it's going to turn out okay for him just because of the deck he's playing against. It didn't happen the same for Adriel because he matched up against a deck that could pressure you in the other lane in 2 seconds with those Royal Hogs. He got lucky, man. He is playing against lava, and you can't just set up a lava in the back when you see a push like that coming through. You still have to over defend. He doesn't have all that much DPS either, and that lightning doing work against that Inferno Dragon.
Opposite lane pressure right here from Nova Matt as soon as the Lava Hound comes down. And that's not going to be too much damage and to set up a nice counter push. So this is going to be 11 elixir on the board here for Goku. And Nova Matt playing lightning rather than fireball.
Yeah, and that was almost keeping that flying machine alive. Unfortunately for him, the firing rate on those Skelly Dragons is so low. He does have 3 elixir, but I don't think the miner is a little bit late. The good thing, I think the heads up play from him on why he sent the miner in late is because he realized, look, lightning and log, there is nothing for these pups, even if I only have 3 of them.
Yeah, that was absolutely brutal, an absolute shutdown move here. And, you know, we're going to see some aggressive play from Goku on the left-hand side, but he has no way to deal with that Inferno Dragon, especially when he sends the Electro Spirit to the opposite lane.
Yeah, you can't be doing that. Something as simple as the Electro Spirit, that 1 elixir card, always has to go behind your RG when you're going up, not only against the Inferno Dragon, but even the guards buy you a little bit more time to get that DPS lower as well. And I'm not sure what he's going to be doing here with this offensive play. A nice log. Where's the Electro Spirit? I would have loved to see the Electro Spirit just come down and get rid of those pretty quickly, but the Motherwitch is still a nice play from him.
He'd already cycled it again to the opposite lane towards the Lava Hound. So Electro Spirit being a little fast and loose. And this is a great lesson for those of you watching. I've seen some people in chat who are, you know, playing in the mid 4Ks, looking to get better. One of the best lessons you can ever learn is that cycle cards are not just for cycle.
Yeah.
An Electro Spirit right here was a major tech card that Nova's Matt needed multiple times in different situations, and that he cycled needlessly and carelessly. So 1 elixir can be so critical. It's a great lesson for any of you watching at home.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where if you really go back and you watch CRL, whether it be teams or individual, go watch the finals where Lucas, where Mo was playing, where all these cycle players play. They get so much value out of their 1 elixir cards that's where they win the games. It's not the big unit cards or anything like that. You'll see them get positive 2 or 3 elixir trades or force out an extra defense just off a set of skellies, a set of you know, a spirit here and there. And if I'm not mistaken, it was either Sandbox or Jupiter King that for that CRL where Liquid, you know, did pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie, we did pretty bad. He was a god with that heal spirit just everywhere. I don't remember. I remember it was someone on Tribe. I just don't remember who it was, but he would get endless amounts of value off of those spirits, and that's what made him so good that season.
Certainly, and that's one of those ones, you know, I tend to lean towards cycle. It's a little bit more forgiving sometimes, and fun to watch those guys and learning that tech. Super, super important. And let's talk about what we're going into with game number 3 here. After Matt in round 1, in game number 1, played Drill, no wall breakers, just Drill NATO Fireball with the Inferno Tower. And then now in game number 2, it's Goku winning with Lava Miner Guards. Arrows being the only spell out for Goku. So, you know, we did already see, that's pretty big, right, Eric?
Yeah, that's big, man. You have Fireball available to you. You have Log available to you. You have everything you really want available to you in this last set. You even have that RG deck that's super strong. I think if you use it with Fireball instead of Lightning, it's a lot stronger as well. You have Fireball Bait as well if you want to use that. He basically has everything open to him right now. Although Fireball Bait doesn't really work because I am mistaken. I'm sorry, he just won with Flying Machine, and that is the best Fireball Bait in the whole game. So you definitely don't want to be running that. But Fireball and Log still available to you is big.
So let's go ahead and send this to the chat right now. Game number 1, it was Drill, so that deck no longer available for Matt. Game number 2, the win with Lava Miner Guards. For Goku, that is out in this kind of unique version of dual mode where you only lose cards that you win with as we go on. So let's get some deck picks in the chat. What do you think Goku's coming out with here in our next game, and what do you think Nova Matt's coming out with here in game number 3? We just heard Eric Benemu's position on that one, and of course, if you haven't already, if you look at Eric's picture right down below him, right, just like mine, there's a little name there at EB7. Make sure you go ahead and follow Eric on Twitter and myself as well at Rich Slayton. And if you want more information on future Royale Masters events, go ahead and hit Command Discord. That's exclamation Discord in the chat to find the Nova Masters, the Royale Masters Discord. And of course, down at the bottom, the left-hand or right-hand side of your screen, on all social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, at RoyaleMasters, MSTRS, for more information. And Eric, we're getting ready for game number 3 here in just a moment, and I'm seeing some picks here. Some people are just saying Hog EQ. People are just putting out decks, but not saying who. I see Log Bait, I see Mortar, I see Hog EQ, and Goatphonics saying Goku going to play the long game. What do you think he means by that here?
I have no idea what that means. Maybe a heavy deck is what he means, but I actually really like in game number 3, not Hog EQ, but Royal Hog's Mortar EQ. I think that deck gives you so much more playability. It is such a safer bet on defense as well. So I think if I was going to go a Hog EQ, I would go with the Mortar deck instead. But look, everyone that said EQ at least is already right.
And this is fascinating picks here from Nova Matt. Honestly, this typically goes Loon with the Lumberjack. It does have some shades of sort of some old school Royal Giant decks. We know he likes that, although Electro Dragon not big in Royal Giant. This is interesting coming out from Matt. Yeah, it could be Golem with the Cannon Cart now.
Cannon Cart, Lumberjack, and Electro Dragon definitely lends itself to a nice Golem deck as well. And look, for the people that said Hog EQ but didn't specify who, you're just smart. You got a 2-for-1, you know? You got a 2-for-1 pick. You didn't really say anything else other than that. And this should definitely be Golem. There it is, Golem being played. And whoever said Goku is playing the long game, you probably should have just not said Goku either and followed suit with everyone else and just said the long game, because I probably would have given you it in the sense of like double elixir.
What a huge pick by Goku, though, going with the Inferno Tower instead of the more common Tesla in this matchup, and that could be absolutely massive.
Yeah, that definitely could help a ton, especially if this is one of those Golem decks that has no big spell. We've seen it many times before. You just run the NATO. I'm not sure. It should have a big spell just because I feel like he didn't use it there on purpose. He didn't want to overspend and then be caught off with nothing. But if it doesn't have one, this is 100% GG for Goku.
Hog to the right-hand lane, easily handled there by that Tornado. And just happy to cycle some EQ here was Goku hitting 10 Elixir. As we are in double Elixir time, 45 seconds left in regulation. The lead here for Goku, but anytime you're against Golem and moving into double and triple, that lead can feel tenuous.
Yeah, it definitely can, and it is a very risky thing to go up against. The problem that I have here for him, activating King Tower as well as if he needed it, but I mean, the matchup is beautiful already. No big spell is the greatest thing that can happen to you, and the worst thing that can happen to you if you are Matt. And the only saving grace here for Matt is that NATO. You don't really need it on offense, so you can continuously use it on defense, but it gets to the point where NATO, and you end up with a King Tower that's below the Princess Tower, and then you actually have to start being careful.
Oh, and we're getting some word, and this is important here. Matt played NATO in game number 1 where he won, and he's played Tornado again here. So no matter what, win or lose, Matt has lost here, and Goku will be moving on to our next round.
That's so unfortunate. Anyway, I'll tell you that I would put my house on the fact that he cannot win this matchup. It is literally impossible to win this Golem matchup against Inferno Tower with no big spell. And on top of that, it's not just Inferno Tower with no big spell, right? This is a deck that has so much DPS coming in from the Musketeer. You have the delivery, if needed, there for the Cannon Cart as well. The Skellies can distract the Lumberjack. And if you, on top of all that, you still need it, here you go. I have a Valk that can just stop everything else.
Now, Eric, you say you put your house on that, but I don't think that's enough for you. Would you put your CryptoPunks and your Bored Apes?
No, I am not touching my NFTs. My NFTs stay safe and sound, because if I do lose my house, those can get me one. You know, so it's my backup plan to losing the bet. I am not touching those. I wish I had a CryptoPunk, by the way.
Say what?
I said I wish I had a CryptoPunk.
Oh, I thought
buy me and you a house.
I just assumed that you had one. It feels like here we go. Hog gonna get 2 shots here. EQ in. Didn't matter anyway. Goku had it one based off of a mistake from Matt, and that's a GG. That's a well played. And Goku on to the next one. Very, very well done, young man.
Yeah, Goku, obviously great matchup. Regardless, that was a forfeit on the other side, but I like the fact that Goku still played it out, wanted to get that match win the right way. You know, obviously, I'm not saying it's the wrong way to just like, you still win by the rules, but you always want to win actually winning the match.
Sure. I mean, it is nice to have actually played Clash Royale as opposed to getting the forfeit there. How can you forget the cards you use, says Delando in the chat. Yeah, any tips? Well, Tomom, it's hard to, I don't know how you pronounce your name, first time viewer in the chat, but whatever it is, any tips? Yeah, if you're playing dual mode, don't repeat cards when you're not supposed to. That's a pretty big tip there. And unfortunate exit there for Matt, but nice way to move on there for Goku.
I thought I was going crazy, but there's actually an ice cream truck outside my house I don't think I've seen an ice cream truck anywhere in like 5 years. I thought it was like a weird soundtrack that they were playing here for us in the stream, and I had to confirm, but don't worry, I'm staying on the stream. I'm lactose intolerant, can't go get ice cream anyway. I was just a little bit shook there. I felt like a child again.
You get like a lemon bar or an Otter Pop. I don't know.
No one wants a lemon bar, Ridge.
Where do I find the bracket? Says Taylor Heineck goaded. Taylor, and you can do command bracket. That's exclamation point bracket, and then you can go ahead and you'll find the bracket right there. So if someone wants to type that in, great. Mr. James, that guy saying for the @EB7 and @Rich Slayton, what social platform do I use? That's Twitter for @Rich Slayton and @EB7. And if you're into competitive Clash Royale, Twitter, of course, is where competitive Clash Royale lives. So go ahead and check it out there. And I am seeing word here that the command bracket isn't working. So if our mods could go ahead and fix that one, and we'll get you guys the bracket link here. I'll just go ahead and throw it in the chat myself real quick. That's the long version of the bracket. If we can fix that command, that would be phenomenal. As we go into our second quarterfinal, Mohamed Light, #1 player in the world, up against the 3rd monthly champion in 2021, the Japanese player Ta.
Yeah, and I mean, Ta's doing great so far here. And look, Mo, just be careful with the matchups. We know Ta is really good in his analysis. If Ta can combine some good analysis and some good gameplay, which he did in that first month, he could be a threat to Mo. But I think Mo gets like 1 or 2 bad matchups, and he already used those up. So good luck, Ta. I don't think it's going to work again.
So are we assuming Skeleton Barrel in this deck from Mohamed Light? I mean, I guess he could just play Mortar Miner with Mega Knight, but typically Skelly Barrel's mixed in with those 2 cards.
Yeah, it either has to be that, or it's just some weird variation of, instead of Graveyard, I'm going with Miner, and I'm still using the E-Wiz Hunter as well. I'm not too sure what the play is here from Mo. Definitely seems like a snipe. It doesn't seem like a usual deck, but that Hog Rider from top was a beautiful play. Look how much damage is coming in on the bottom left.
And the push on the right-hand side absolutely shut down here. So that's about 17 million hog hits on the left-hand side. Mo calling good game already. And Latak in the chat saying this deck usually runs Goblin Hut. Haven't seen it yet, though. And, of course, it wasn't there to stop the hog on the left-hand side. So good start here for the Japanese pro from Rising Sun Esports.
How is he at hog again? I am so confused. I feel like I just watched that hog take down the tower, and he's back at it. He must have played the Skellies, the Fire Spirit, and the Log as quickly as possible. But, look, Mo, for the 2nd time today, seems like he's going to go down 0-1 in the series. Does that really mean all that much? No, we've seen him win so many times from down to 0-1, but it is a little bit odd to see his performance yesterday be so dominant, and today really struggling to get those easy wins on the board.
Miner is getting some good damage in here, and Mo does have a bit of an advantage elixir-wise, so he's trying to double down here. Not quite enough. 498 needs 1 more good shot to be able to spell out. The Tesla, though, should shut that down.
It's all going to really come down to if he catches his Miner, which he does catch it, but that E-Wiz is on tower as well, and somehow Mo brings it back. I'm sorry, Ty. I think I did the Caster's Curse thing where I call a win before I should, and you were on the wrong side of that. And now Mo is in a really good position to take this in a 2-tower game with Mega Knight, knowing the exact deck he's going up against as well. And for some reason, they're both playing with 7 cards also.
What is happening? What are things? This is so... Mohamed Light needs to stop playing Clash Royale so other people have a chance to win games. This is starting to get obscene.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how he managed to bring that back at any point. It feels like all Ta had to do was spam everything in front of Mo's face just to make sure that that wasn't going to happen. This time, the Valk does come down, but like Ladak said, this is the Goblin Hut deck. It is definitely an odd deck, and look at the Valk pretty much going down all the way to those Spear Goblins while the Hut is still up and running, and the Cannon Cart does connect onto tower.
Wow, Pocket Cart. And right now, the tables have turned. It is Ta who has the lead on the single tower at 2036. This is one of those weird situations, though, where even though it's Ta in the lead, it almost feels inevitable that Mohamed Light will steal this back.
Yeah, and he hasn't been able to hog this whole time because that cannon cart is still down on the top right of the lane that he's trying to push. So I like the play of Mo from using those cannon carts right there, and he goes right back to it. You take down my cannon cart, you can't push into my lane. So good luck with that. You're going to have to wait for it to get a lot closer down there. That way I can actually hog, and that hog's going to go back as well.
Wow, the level of brilliance. You know, we say it a lot, Eric, but there are levels to this game, and we're seeing a different level. Even if Ta gets the win here, the level of what Mo's putting on right now is just unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a beautiful play out of him. He knows exactly what he's doing. Those cannon carts are, you might be thinking like, why is he playing the cannon carts in the lane where he's not trying to get damage? Everything has been thought of, but Todd does bring it back anyway, and very well played out of both players here.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, good recovery there from Ta. Really great recovery from Ta. That's game of the day so far.
Yeah.
Mohamed Light, the brilliance, that was a tough situation for him. The brilliance of what he did there, even in a loss, is one of those things that should stand out. And we talk that's how good of a player he is that he just lost the game, and we're talking about how good Mohamed Light is.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. Mo is just so smart when he's playing. It seems like he's always one step ahead, and there's very few players in the history of Clash that you can pinpoint exactly how far ahead they are from everyone else, right? The 99% of players you see will not continuously play cannon carts in that top right corner because they won't recognize that soon enough or early enough. He played 3 of them, and that bought him so much time. The only problem for him was he just could not keep up with the cycle. He always was able to get a Tesla down, and then the Valk for the Mega Knight, and also the miners kept getting caught. Did not help.
Well, a great game on both sides there. Ta nearly letting it slip through his fingers, able to recover and get the game back there. Let's get some GGs in the chat, everybody. And look, the bracket link is fixed, so command bracket if you want to find that one. Let's give some love, though, to these two players. That was a great show, and, you know, it's one of those games where you love seeing what Ta's doing in that moment. And now we go on to game number 2 here with the advantage for the Japanese pro. And keep in mind, in this modified version of dual mode, that means that Mohamed Light can run any of those cards back, but Ta no longer can play the Hog Rider, the Valk, the EQ, the Log, or the Tesla. Not to mention, of course, the other 2 cards in that deck, but that full deck out for Ta. Mohamed Light still with the full game to play.
Yeah, and I mean, Mo's really... I'm surprised that we watched 2 best-of-3s come out from Mo, and going down 0-1 both times. I don't remember the last time we saw consecutive best-of-3s like this start for Mo. And not only that, the most worrying thing for me is the fact that, look, Adriel had a great matchup in game 1, but he also had a great matchup in game 2. Adriel kind of threw that second match away with the way he was playing his Mega Knight, but the analysis seems to be off in the current meta right now for Mo, and I would like to see what's going to happen in game number 2, because if Ta gets another really good matchup here, I don't think he's going to make the same mistakes Adriel did. Yeah,
that's going to be really interesting. And let's go ahead and jump into game number 2 here as we have our next one set up. Let's see what Mo can do to recover here with the full game advantage going to Ta.
Let's see it, Mo. Let's see what you're coming out with here. And Fireball already out of Ta is a good indication of, you know, this deck is going to be a solid deck. Anytime you have Fireball in your deck in a duels format, you have to be feeling good. Winning without it is one of the biggest key things, in my opinion, when it comes to duels format. If you can get that first win in a best-of-3 without having to use your Fireball, you're in a way better position than anyone else if they do have to use their Fireball to win the first one.
And Mo going to Mortar Miner in game number 2, so kind of going comfort-like in game 2 as the Prince of Egypt, as it's GY Musk for the Rising Sun player.
Yeah, and a nice delivery here should clean up just about everything as well. On top of the fact that, look, RNG was definitely on his side. They all spawned up next to that delivery where it dropped down. So it worked this time, but RNG could definitely not be on his side next time around. And he's going to have to probably have something ready to over-defend, because that snowball's always going to take down those Spear Goblins. And even if you do play that Musketeer, he does have Fireball, and you could give him even more value onto your tower. So it's going to be pretty tough for him.
Passing the midway point of regulation, and so far the lead is going to Mohamed Light, 24-19 to 27-51. Of course, some good responses here to Graveyard from Mo, including that Valk although she is a bit slower than she used to be. Although Graveyard, the longer you play against it, the worse it gets.
Yeah, the one thing that if you take a look at Mo's deck, he can never use the Valk onto the Graveyard because then he has nothing for the cannon cart. The cannon cart would always end up connecting onto tower, or you would have to way overspend as well. This time around, the miner is on tower, and I think maybe that snowball was just a little bit too much of an overcommit. You got to just know when you're not going to get any damage. But this bomb tower, definitely a nice response to the high mortar.
Gonna shut things down. We're gonna end this sequence with a 4 elixir advantage, or a 1 elixir advantage, excuse me, going towards Mohamed Light as we enter double elixir time. And Ta content to just play in this same lane, stacking things up and a little bit of fireball play on that left-hand tower.
Yeah, this is... Mo is really taking advantage of those quick miners and poisons onto tower, trying to force out a troop first and then minoring so he cannot catch it, and then also using the poison at the same time around. Maybe you see a fireball here. I would have loved to see a fireball catch the musketeer as well as the spear goblins instead of just the snowball, but not a lot of damage, and Mo continues with the lead here. Yes, that Valk is taking quite a bit of hits from the musketeer, but overall it was a really good exchange for Mo there.
And seeing some questions about Mo reusing the miner, and yes, the Royale Masters version of dual mode allows you to repeat cards if you have not won with them, and you only lose cards that you win with. That is not the rule for Clash Royale League. That's a special rule here for Royale Masters.
Yeah, delivery gonna come down here, but that enables the Valk to actually go down onto the Graveyard this time around. The cannon cart is there, but I'm surprised if he will not get something else down, and he does. Those Spear Goblins should be enough to handle it, and Mo just outplaying him at this point. He baited the fact that he thought he was gonna Graveyard in without having to use the cannon cart, which enables the Valk to be used there for a very easy defense. You have nothing, your snowball won't really affect it, and he's doing it again. The Valk is gonna come down onto that Graveyard most likely, if I'm not mistaken. Not even using it. He doesn't even need it.
Yeah, holding strong right now is Mohamed Light, and that miner does not get picked up again. And so far, it really has seemed like Ta has been just ignoring the miners and choosing to tank all the damage rather than catch even one.
Yeah, the thing is that Mo is just playing smarter in the sense that he has not minored one time until the cannon cart is down and in play, which means that takes out one of two options in which he can catch the miner. So that's why he's playing this so smart. He's gonna have to catch it with a knight every time, but you also need the knight for the musketeer. It's been really tough for him. Watch how every time that cannon cart has gone down, the miner comes down right after it.
Nice big win there for Light. Ties things up 1-1 in our second quarterfinal. We're going to game number 3, and let's review the decks again one more time. Game number 1, Ta winning with Hog EQ with Firecracker, so Log out for Ta, Tesla out for Ta, and of course what we just saw out of Mohamed Light. We've seen Mo turn to Miner. Miner has been the MVP for him. No Miner available for Mo going into game number 3.
But Fireball is available, so maybe we get to see some RG, maybe we get to see some Hoggies as well. Mo is one of those players that when he does use the miner, it's almost a guaranteed win, right? Mo with like Tesla and miner, in my opinion, is the worst matchup you can get as a player, having to play Mo with that type of deck. And he shows why every single set that he uses it. I think it's very smart for people moving forward that you set up a good deck against a miner, apart from the one that you're coming in with in game number 1. Because if you win in game number 1, he's shown that he does tend to go over to that miner either in game 2 or 3. So try to leave some nice miner counter decks in your cycle, or at least the cards available to you for game 2 and 3. If you don't have that, it seems like you're going to suffer, and that first win is just not going to be enough.
So Fireball available for both players as we go into game number 3. Very important note here. We've already seen Ta go. Of course, he went Hog EQ, went with a cycle in game number 1. The Musk Cannon Cart GY deck here in game 2. He took the L there, but you have to expect that he's going to bring Fireball back out again here in game number 3. So thoughts on, we expect that from Ta. Do you think Mo goes to something fast, cycle with Fireball? We're looking at Royal Giant here in game number 3, or does he do something totally outside of the norm?
I think he's either going to go with something very quick cycle, or he might try and use some sort of lava deck as well. I think he has a good shot at catching him by surprise. We've seen Mo use lava before, not many times, but I think it might be a good option when your opponent watched your last match. Most likely he knows your playstyle. Everyone knows Mo's playstyle. So maybe if Mo can catch him off guard here, he might be able to get a good matchup. You know, Taz probably going to try and go for some sort of a snipe or really depend on his analysis. So if you can toss all that out the window, you might be able to actually get a good matchup in your favor.
And I see some in the chat here. Jokery saying top probably goes Lava or RG in the third game. So just as you were saying that, Eric, same pick there from Jokery. Quark saying Ta going Lumber Freeze, which could be a possibility here. It's certainly one that kind of benefits on matchup here. And Goat Phonics going way out on a limb here and saying, I bet one will use Fireball next game.
That is a bold prediction. That is definitely the bold prediction of the day. Has to go to GOAT, no doubt. And just to touch on the Loon Freeze, it can work, but it is so risky. That deck, one bad matchup, you're done. If the matchup is in your favor, 100% win, but it is such a risky play.
Here we go, game number 3. This is single elimination, so it's a best of 1 to move on. And of course, the winner here doesn't just move on, but moves on into the top 4 and guarantees themselves a spot in next weekend.
And we could see a double spawner deck here out of Mo as well. That first time he used the spawner was in a loss, so it's still available to him. He decides to go Rascals, and look, I was saying catch him off guard. He's definitely doing that, but I did not have this in mind. I do not see Rascals very often at all anymore, and even less when you see it with Furnace.
Furnace, Rascals, Flying Machine. What in the world is Mo going to, and now Mother Witch. This is a little bit all over the place. Some Fireball bait aspects, of course. Could this be a weird variation of Pigs?
Yeah, and I'm praying for Ta's sake he has Fireball, because looking at this deck, if you don't, good luck, man. This is going to be a pain to defend against. He has not only the Rascals, not only the Furnace. Remember, there is no Earthquake available to Ta. So that was a smart pick in the sense of the Furnace use from Mo. And if you don't have Fireball, which it doesn't seem like he does, this is just going to be an Arrows deck. This is going to be painful for him.
Latak is saying this is double hut, and of course we could see a Goblin Hut here. When Goblin Hut was reworked, it was reworked with the Supercell's description as specifically to counter Lava Hound. Obviously that didn't really end up playing out the way maybe anticipated, but you know, we might see it come out here to help out with that.
The thing is, with only having arrows, there's no real good use for it. Yes, you can take out the Rascals, but then you have the whole hut available to him as well. And that is the only thing. Yeah, there you go. Now you can go ahead and Mother Witch. You're going to spawn in a million Hoggies as well here. It's just going to be almost, in my opinion, it's going to be impossible for him to win this game. Look at the pressure that he has on right now. Fireball can come in from Mo if he needs it. There's a Fireball waited for the perfect timing. Cannon Cart is on tower. GG. Well played. Mo definitely caught him off guard. Was not expecting that. But on the other side, Ta, come on, man. You got to use Fireball in this last game. There is no shot. It's still available to you in a duels format, and you're going to go ahead and play only arrows. I just think that's the wrong call.
And, I mean, yes, I agree with you, the wrong call. And who is playing against Mo and goes, I think Mo's going to play double hut. I think that Mohamed Light, the guy known for the current top micro player in the game, is going to go with a deck that is 100% macro.
Here's the thing. Being the best player in the game, you can actually use that to your advantage. Everyone expects a certain thing out of you, and if you do not stick by that, you actually get such a higher advantage than theirs by having watched all your games. And that's why I was saying Mo maybe goes to Lava or something like that. The fact that he surprised him, this was clearly a deck that was going to be good against wall breakers type of style deck, right? You had the cage, you had arrows, you had guards, you had everything you wanted for that. And Mo completely said, yeah, no problem. Go. That's good for you, but I'm just going to run something that you will not expect ever.
And there you go. We now get our second semifinalist and, of course, our second of 4 qualifiers guaranteed into our $10,000 championship weekend next weekend. Mohamed Light goes up and will face Goku later today, but, of course, both of them moving on. And we have 2 more quarterfinals, 2 more qualifying matches coming your way soon. We are going to be right back, though, with our remaining quarterfinals and more after this. And welcome back, everybody, on this fantastic Sunday for the remaining quarterfinals and more for our last chance qualifiers here at Royale Masters. I'm Rich Slayton, that's Eric Benamou. We are partway through. We already have 2 of our 4 qualifiers today who move on to our championship weekend. Next weekend, where $10,000 are on the line, we still have 2 more qualifiers to assign, and then, of course, we will do our final seeding competition to find out who is 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th seed going into next weekend. Eric, it's been pretty great so far, and of course, we just got a master class from the #1 player in the world.
We sure did, and I don't know why it just popped into my head, but if you're already qualified, you're watching this, and depending on what seed you have in that 1 through 4, you're praying either Mo wins this or loses this and is just on the other end of the bracket from you, because I mean, no matter what seed you qualify, if you have Mo first round, you're in a bad position. It's really that simple. So you can have the #1 seed, you're absolutely killing it. You did better than everyone else, and then Mo wins, and yeah, he's an 8th seed. Congratulations, that's your first round matchup. Let's
go ahead, jump into our next one, the American Magma up against Agus from Argentina.
All right, this is the first time I get to watch Agus from Argentina here. We did not know who he was yesterday, but definitely making it further than I guess most people would have expected, no doubt. And I'm curious to see his gameplay, what his style of deck choices are. I really do not know anything about him.
Well, we'll find out a whole lot here. Magma going with a bridge spam variation, most likely Ram Rider. Not seen a whole lot of Battle Ram in 2021 CRL, of course. Heka Bridge Spam is still very popular for ladder play and some GC play, but not so much in competitive.
Yeah, definitely not something that I would recommend anyone use right now. I think it is the weakest of all bridge spam cards. It just doesn't really add any value, especially when you look at the fact that most tanks being played right now are Mega Knights. And Mega Knights against the Battle Ram is just free elixir trade every single time. The Ram Rider can still do a little more work against a Mega Knight than a Battle Ram can. And those cannon cards have saved a lot of people from Ram Rider hits, but not him.
Oh, but that is a tanking bandit for the Ram Rider. That is absolutely massive. The bandit stays on the board in what looked like a great defense for the Argentinian player, completely falls apart at the seams.
I could have sworn that Ram Rider was ahead of the bandit. At least it seemed closer to the tower to me, and that's why I assumed it wasn't going to get a hit. But as soon as that bandit got targeted, you knew it was going to be almost tower down for him. And this ghost is going to almost get out the tower, but it forces the Zappies. And even though it did force the Zappies, not a bad play in the sense that his next card was the Inferno Dragon. But here we go, Mega Knight to defend against that. This should be another really good offensive play that should force a lot out of him.
Ram Rider and Cannon Car on its wheels, so not going to pull here. Fireball to push the Ram Rider, but Ram Rider should still touch, and it just barely doesn't.
All right, he got one back, right? The Cannon Car did not target the Mega Knight on that one. It targeted the Ram Rider. It saves him from the Ram Rider hit and probably saves him from tower down. But Magma using poison in this deck, and it just goes from bad to worse for Agus here.
Royal Ghost pressure on the right-hand side. Going to hold on here. Does Agus, but still way behind as we go into sudden death overtime. Just under 1,000 HP, 829 on the right-hand tower for Agus, and has barely touched that left-hand lane of Magma.
Yeah, even the left-hand side of Agus is more damaged than the left-hand side of Magma, and that's because that bandit connected last time around. But look, no poison in hand right now. This could be a good time to pressure with Graveyard. He's going to do just that, but yet again, that Inferno Dragon going to take down the only tank he had, and this should be another easy defense. Great matchup, very well played by Magma as well, and this is a good first game out of him, taking a 1-0 over Agus here.
Agus, though, doing a good job of battling back into this one. So far, in the last minute or so, he's been getting more damage in. He's been trading nicely. The question is, can he continue that as the Ram Rider goes left-hand side?
I just don't think it's possible. Poison is still available to him. As long as he just saves poison every time, that's why I'm so comfortable, calling the 1-0 already. Poison on the Graveyard, Mega Knight to tank absolutely everything else, and that's it. That's game over. You really cannot do anything else.
Ghost plus Ram Rider right-hand side. Uses Fireball here to defend. No cage, and has to spend the arrows as well.
Yeah.
So a big overspend here by Agustino on that right-hand side.
Yeah, I like the full name usage there. Agustino added the O at the end as well, you know, just for the sake of maybe it's that. But yeah, poison. All right, this is where I don't like the poison play. You should not be using poison. You do not need to take down that tower. The game is already won. There is no need to spend more elixir on the offensive end. Just play it safe. If you're Magma, obviously no graveyard came in there, so not too much to worry about. But if a graveyard did end up coming in, it could have been trouble for him.
It's Augustine. I added the O actually. I'm looking him up some info on our challenger here up against Magma, but so far things looking the Americans' way. Fireball on defense here, and the Bandit does finish off tower. Game number 1 going to Magma.
Yeah, and no Caster's Curse this time around. That was just too difficult to really come back in that. The only way he had a shot was if the match was actually close the whole way through and he could force out more poisons offensively later on. But it all came down to that one interaction where the Bandit actually tanked for the Ram Rider. After that, there was really no damage other than poison damage, and he defended really well. Unfortunate sequence very early on in the game.
Yeah, very nicely done for Magma in this one. Up against Agustino, who is an 8.1K, almost 8.2K player, 81-83 for the Argentinian, who does have a limited amount of esports experience, but more importantly, best finish on ladder, 297th. So nothing bad, nothing amazing. Certainly a player who hopes to be on the rise at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten so accustomed to, you know, top 50 or like top 100 is like where we start valuing it, but top 200 is still really good. Top 200, top 300 is still really good. The only thing is when you look at the other people in this bracket, you are playing those top 50 players, those top 1 finishers, the top 10 finishers, and that's why it's not as, you know, like it's a big accomplishment, don't take me wrong, but in this specific bracket it really will not set you apart against those people that you're playing.
Yeah, I mean, you're up against Magma, 85-71 personal best. Top 30 finish, 28th, his best finish on ladder. And here for CRL rankings this year, ended up 134th with 236 points. So only a few points out. That seems like a big gap, but that's not that many points out of making top 56. Yeah,
that's exactly right. Those I feel like from like the 150 mark to that 50 mark, the point differential was so small because the big gap is from the players that would constantly make it into the, you know, the round robins and the monthly finals as well. Everyone else was just really like, okay, I have a 30 finish here, 100 finish here, and that's really where they would get their points from, and it's hard to really build a gap.
So here we go. Game number 2. Magma opens up by cycling Valk to the right-hand lane, looking like a Royal Giant deck for Augustine here in game number 2.
Let's see what he can do with this. At this point, I think the only big portion here that I'm worried about is early game. He's already able to distract that fisherman with some skellies and gets 2 hog hits very early on in this game.
Wow, and playing Fisherman that high, that early on against a Hog Rider when, you know, there's a pretty simple King Tower activation. And of course, while King Tower activations aren't the end-all, be-all against Hog Rider decks, they do typically reduce the number of Hog Rider swings by about 50%.
They do, and I mean, it's just he's taking too much damage too early on in the game in decks that I don't think he should be taking this damage, right? This is a very, yes, RG is very offensive, but when you look at the answers, he's running it with Hunter, right? It is a variation that is very defensive, and he really needs to be careful on how much damage he takes early on.
And RG behind King Tower and single Elixir is usually not the move either. So some unorthodox choices, if we put it that way here, from Augustine in game number 2, as he is behind Magma so far with a nice lead. It's going to get cut short a little bit here as that Fisherman does go to tower, but 26.99 at 20.98 as we go into double elixir time.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake there, forcing out also a Fire Spirit because that Skelly timing was off, and even that Valk stopping the Ghost before it crosses the bridge will allow for a little bit of an easier defense this time around. A nice log there, but the Electro Spirit somehow jumped before the log made it there, and this, I thought the Musk was getting hit by the Ghost. It did get hit on the first time around, but then the second time it did not. I'm not sure what happened there. And now is where the pressure is going to come in from this Hog Rider. Another beautiful Electro Spirit, but even just one hit every single time will be enough for Magma to win this game.
Yeah, and that's the name of the game, right? Is you're not trying to get big hog, you're not trying to get that big, devastating hog push. Some hog damage, some spell damage, and that's really what you're going for. And so far, that's what's working out so nicely. And the Lightning gets some pretty great value here for Augustine, and now he has a healthy Royal Ghost to one side and the healthy Royal Giant to the other.
Yeah, that was a beautiful, that was actually beautiful Lightning, and I think that Skelly play was just not good at all. You need to surround that Ghost. You just gave him 2 hits onto that Tesla, and this looks really bad for him right now.
Yeah, that's a couple suspect choices here from Magma, who is one of the better players out of the out of the US of A. You know, you probably put him, I don't know, in terms of competitive players in America, at least a top 10 competitive American. And that's definitely not the kind of move you expect from a player of Magma's caliber.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the positive thing for him is how much value that Musketeer got, and that was another misplay. That Fisherman cannot be played there. That is way too close to tower. You should see a Tesla come down here as well. I like the fact that Magma realized I really have to get some distance in between my Tesla and my Musketeer, but that could get Lightning as well. Yeah, there's the Lightning.
These are some big body blows back and forth, 11-16 to 10-78 as we go into the final minute. Triple elixir flowing, and this is spell cycle situations for Magma. He's going to play Hogs, but he's going to play Hogs more for pressure than he is for damage.
Yeah, and at that... I just think there's no reason to play that Musketeer. Just let the Ghost take 2 hits on that left-hand side tower. Be more patient. You have a spell cycle deck. What you are really going for here is to make sure you have as much defensive elixir as possible, and then you don't need to do anything other than those earthquakes.
Tesla does distract both, but that RG on the right-hand side is a real menace. Lightning, RG to get 2 shots here, at least maybe 3, and that's going to be a GG here in a game that arguably should have been one that Magma can win.
I mean, look, even the end. Why are you focusing your DPS on that left-hand side tower where it has double the HP of your right-hand side tower, right? There's just a lot of questionable choices there, in my opinion. The Tesla goes down perfect. Why is the Musketeer on that left-hand side? You can just log that Mother Witch away, and then you basically have 1 RG in both sides. Force him to use that Lightning on the other side and try to go for the other tower. Maybe buy yourself some more time.
So an interesting matchup here, and of course Magma known as a very good hog cycle player, so kind of an interesting choice here out of the American, to some interesting gameplay. And we saw some mistakes there on Augustine's side too. That Fisherman, once you activate King Tower, you have to play that Fisherman 5 tiles from the bridge, or 5 tiles from the river. That's the play. You're outside of target range, or typically outside of target range, but high enough way to pull the Fisherman, or pull the Hog Rider if you time it correctly. So just a little bit off on both sides of the board here.
The difference was how much each mistake cost the player, right? Yeah. One mistake on Magma's side was 700, 800 damage. One mistake on the Agus's side is a 200 HP hog hit, and that's about it. And Magma, you know, they both, like you said, made mistakes, but one ended up being 400, 500 HP total, while the other one was almost 2,000.
And so here's an interesting question, right? Because we did just get a Royal Giant Fisherman Mother Witch Lightning win out of Augustine. You know, we talk a lot about going with Fireball and Fireball bait. Obviously, Fireball available for Augustine after winning that one. Is there some sort of deck in the meta right now that benefits from Lightning being out of the game? It doesn't really feel like it.
I mean, the only one that, in my opinion, can do better against no Lightning is obviously if you're running some sort of like a Lava Clone type of deck, right? A Lava Clone actually suffers a lot to Lightning in the sense that you can never finish building up your Lava Clone push. Every time you put the Flying Machine down the Lumberjack, everything gets Lightning. Then what are you just going to clone? Only a Lava, right? That type of thing. But even then, it's still like, I still would prefer to go against Lightning than arrows or something like that. So sure. I think Lightning doesn't really go all that well until champions are introduced into competitions. Once champions are introduced into competitions, expect to see Lightning win, Archer Queen in.
And that's a big note here, everybody. You have not seen Archer Queen or Golden Knight or Skeleton King today because they are not allowed in today's competition. But we will see all 3 champions available next weekend for the RoyaleMSTRS playoffs and championship weekend. So be ready to tune in next weekend for the top 8 playing with champions in the mix. Maybe a preview. There's no official word yet on CRL World Finals on whether there will or will not be champions, but this could be a preview if that ends up being the case.
Yeah, and I'm excited to watch that. You know, the knight dashing everywhere like it's a bandit of some sort, and then that archer queen, man. All I'm gonna say is one misplay there is a lot worse than any misplay we just saw in this previous match. That is a full tower down. If they get you with that, it is one of the most frustrating things in all of Clash. And if you know, I do expect to see a lot more lightning in the finals than we've seen in this, just because of the champions.
And let's go ahead and jump into game number 3. P Coin in the Twitch chat pointing out this is a mobile game. Thank you. We were unaware. We thought that this was being played on a high-level simulation, but we're happy you're able to give us that information.
Wait, this is a mobile game?
That's what I've been told. And this is actually an interesting choice here from Magma. I was going to say with Log being out, do we see some variation of bait? Minor wall breakers, not exactly the same thing, but in that universe.
Yeah, it definitely is in that universe, and I'm curious to see if he's running this lava with Cage, what he's going to do. We've seen lava players as well sometimes go without a building. If he's without a building, it's going to be a pretty rough matchup for him, but we're about to find out.
Full-on Lava Loon Miner, so not as popular as just Lava Miner these days, but Augustine going with the full big bad boy, and delivery will come through to clean up some of that. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I love Agus's deck choice here. We do not see Lava Loon very often, and I was talking about that with Andrew when we were casting the previous tournament last week. I think too many people are focusing on Lava Miner when Lava Loon is actually better in this meta. There is so many quick cycle bait decks that do not have anything to actually stop that loon behind the lava, that if you're already going to run a lava deck, run that Lava Loon, add that pressure, and even then you're able to tank a lot more of those wall breakers and those squishy troops, because you know one big push and that's tower down.
Well, if you want a tip on Lava Loon Miner, I posted a video with the Juicy One, who's known as a very, very great Lava Loon Miner player on my YouTube channel. That's Rich Slayton on YouTube, and you can see the Juicy One break down 5 key tips for mastering the deck that you're seeing Augustine play right now.
I would love to see a set of arrows come in here. Zap should go onto the bats. Arrows should go onto the Tesla here as quick as possible. Let those wall breakers go down. Decides not to do it, and the reason that why I wanted that is you need the most amount of damage as quick as possible, because there is delivery and there is fireball there. The miner does not get caught though.
Yeah, that's really big here at this moment. We're into our final 50. That's going to be able to spell out.
Yes.
And now in a 2-tower game, this is one of those ones where it feels like Augustine can just play middle and still have some good defense against whatever push goes to the right-hand side for the remainder of the game.
He has to zap that now, though,
yeah.
And he's no longer. He has to full rotate around. There is nothing to catch that, which is good for him. But at the same time, that was a really good sequence there for Magma. And even though this does seem like it should be in Magma's favor, I'm telling you, playing Lava Loon against a Wall Breakers deck in split, you know, the opposite towers is actually really tough. Every time you lava, you're going to get that Valk in the middle with all those troops, and it is so hard to actually deal with.
So this one's better if it's same lane for
yes.
lava than opposite.
Absolutely.
In most matchups, Lava Loon Miner tends to play same lane. There are a couple matchups where you play opposite lane, Expo being one of them, because Expo cannot win that tower trade, and we're seeing here even in later variations, we're getting an insight here from World Champion Coach Eric Benamou. This would have been much better same lane for August, but what's the key to him winning this one now that it's in the opposite lanes?
Arrows always in cycle. You need to keep those arrows always in cycle. They should never be played offensive. Your zap is offensive, your arrows is defensive. You always have to keep it like that, because if not, you're going to get a Valk with wall breakers right behind it in the middle, in the pocket, and you will not be able to defend it no matter what you do.
Here we go. Minor Valk push, wall breakers behind. Is he back to arrows yet? Guards to hold.
Nope.
Guards don't hold. One wall breaker, wow. I believe, got through there. That is a ton of damage. 393 Magma in a good spot to win here.
Yeah, this is really tough at this point. I think it's over. He used his arrows. Yeah, it's GG. You're going to see a Valk in the middle, be in front of those wall breakers. Possibly doesn't even need to use it. But like I said, no arrows. You will never be able to defend.
Beautiful play here by Magma, and the American will move on to join our Final Four as they go into our next weekend for the monthly championship. So great work there by Magma.
Yeah, that was really well played. If it was same lane, Magma would have been in a lot of trouble because all those counter push would be, you know, really, really hard to stop. But the fact that it was opposite lane really worked in his favor. It actually was a good matchup for him in that split. Also, I think it took Agus a little bit too long to realize that those arrows should never be used on anything other than the wall breakers. And once he did realize that, I think it was too little too late.
And we're seeing some chat here. I'm seeing a couple times, second time I've seen it today. Why no Expo in this one? And you know, we've covered this ground a fair bit, but Expo generally pretty bad and competitive these days. And in this one in particular, you know, if Magma had gone Expo in this matchup, that would have been a GG, well played, goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, just stay away from the Expo when there's so much on the line. That is my thinking. If you secured a spot, like now that we're moving into semifinals after this next match, you already know you're in that top 4. I don't mind, you know, experimenting a little bit with Expo here and there, but right now when you have one best of 3, if you lose one match in that best of 3 because you wanted to run your Expo, it's just too risky.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket, as we do have one more player joining our top 3, now top 4. So Goku, Mohamed Light, and Magma have all guaranteed themselves spot in next weekend's $10,000 finale. Coming up next, it's going to be my co-caster, Eric's pick, Wallace, one of the top players out of Brazil, which has so many great players, against Mao, who has been just on the edge of greatness for a while. We'll see which one secures a spot in next weekend's $10,000 championship. Eric, I'm going to guess here that you're picking Wallace.
Wallace, look at me. I know you're watching this screen. Don't fail me, man. I picked you to win the whole thing, all right? This is the first match we get to watch you on stream. Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me, please. I want a quick 2-0 out of you. And
as a note for everyone watching at home, we're going to be getting one more qualifier right now. We're going to play the remaining matches for seeding purposes for next weekend. But, of course, we're going to play this next matchup as the most important one. Vote right now in the chat. Is it Wallace going through or is it Mao? I'm going to join Eric and say Wallace takes the dub here. Of course, we have to play at least 2 games, maybe 3, of Clash Royale to decide. Let's go. Mao top of the screen, Wallace at the bottom. Your final qualifier match of the day.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this matchup. I think it is one of the best matchups we've seen all day today, other than that first round match between Mo and Adriel. These two really stack up very nicely against each other. Mao, towards the end of the year, started really gaining momentum. You saw him in those monthly qualifiers, in the monthly final as well, and just a really, really good player.
And I see P Coin mentioning the $10,000 prize pool. Didn't realize how popular this game was. Well, it's $25K overall for this event. And you want to talk about big prize pools. Clash Royale League this year, $1.6 million prize pool, the grand prize that will assign on December 5th of this year, $200,000 to your world champion. So a lot of money in competitive Clash Royale this year.
It's $200,000, and if someone like Mo wins it, you got to add that onto the what, like 50K plus he's already won. So not too shabby of a year for that. And if he wins something like this, add another 10,000 and he's won I don't know how many other tournaments. So it could definitely be a $300,000 plus year for someone like Mo or Lucas.
That's absolutely true. Prince of Egypt might get himself a second gold chair at the end of this year. We'll see what happens. Right now, though, it's Wallace totally taking command in this Royal Hogs matchup.
Yeah, and I mean, Wallace here, it's not that he has a big matchup advantage by any means. There is a bomb tower as well as the cannon cart, but that elite barbarians pick I think is so smart. It's not something that you would use in any other deck, so you don't really take anything away in this duels format, and you add a lot of pressure in an already high pressure deck like the Royal Hogs. We usually see this, we usually see just the recruits or just the Mega Knight. You don't really get to see it with the E-Barbs as well. I like the deck choice.
Final 34 seconds of regulation time, and Wallace firmly in command and happy to cycle the Mega Knight behind King Tower. And immediately you see Night Pigs opposite direction, but that's why the Elite Barbarians.
Yeah, that's why you're able to... This was a mistake that we saw in game number 1 from Adriel, and he gets completely bailed out by the fact that he has those Elite Barbarians. Adriel was making that same play of the Mega Knight in the back, but he didn't have any high DPS left for the rest of the troops that were going to come in the other lane. Flying Machine going to help take down this bomb tower. A poison there for the Musketeer. Flying Machine's on tower, and is so much damage.
Oh boy, that's not quite GG yet, but as Mao's angry face is indicating, it's basically GG anyway. So we'll just get a little spell cycle in here, play some defense, and Wallace will get a pretty solid game number 1 win.
Yeah, Wallace is just, I mean, I'm telling you, I've been watching his games from my friends list and all of that. He is playing so well. Mega Knight could come down here if he wants to. He's not even going to need it. He's going to say, I'll let you get close while I poison your tower, just to add some excitement to this.
Wallace taking game number 1 here against Mao. Mao's no joke. Mao's certainly a good player, but Wallace certainly has been on a tear for a while now, and I'm seeing some questions in the chat here. I've been answering them, Eric, but the big question is what's your background, where you're from? And I believe it's Venezuela.
Wait, I don't sound like I'm all American here? I thought, no, but I am from Venezuela, and originally, my family's from Spain. I saw Mrs. Beast there, and Mrs. Beast, I'm not used to seeing your name like that. Her name used to be Just Beast. She changed it for clarification purposes, but yeah, my family's from Spain. I was born in Venezuela, though, and now I live in the U.S. Proudly.
There you go. Yeah, Miami boy up in the building. He's not an island boy, but he is a Miami guy.
I also don't sing. I can guarantee you that. Well, if you can call that singing, whatever you want to say.
Their hair's better though. I have to admit it. They do have the Statue of Liberty look going down pretty nicely. Wallace up 1 here against Mao, and again, I told you Mao's no joke. Mao, probably the number 1 player out of Bolivia, or at least one of the top 3 players out of Bolivia overall. 8.4K player who's had quite a bit of competitive experience, including some success in some of those big tournaments like the CWA Cup, Brenchon Cup, and beyond.
Yeah, man, I'm just gonna be honest with you, Rich. Watching matches like this gets me so excited for World Finals.
Oh yeah,
I am so ready for Worlds. Like watching Mo, watching Wallace, and like knowing that, look, World Finals is gonna have these matches in first round. This is like people like Wallace, like Mo, Igor, Grieco, all these players, they're gonna go home in the first round. Like they're gonna be eliminated, and it's not that they lost in an upset. Like these players are playing each other. So I am so thankful I get to cast this tournament, in the sense that I needed this to get more hyped up as well for Worlds. This is like the best preparation that we can possibly have, and Wallace is just proving me right at this point. Hopefully I did not just jinx him.
Here we go into game number 2. Wallace up 1 right now against Mao. And Wallace's first round single elimination opponent at CRO World Finals will be the Pride of Singapore, Famous Kid. That'll be a pretty tough but exciting matchup for Wallace. And again, that Clash Royale League World Finals will be December 3rd through 5th.
Yeah.
So get yourselves ready.
Yeah, and the chat is trying to get confirmation that I am from Venezuela and that I do speak Spanish. So sí, si hablo español, hablo perfectamente. And that should be confirmation for you guys that don't believe me that for some reason I speak Spanish. There's always some doubters, right? But yeah.
Yeah, you keep on wondering if you don't sound like, if your English doesn't sound right, but it sounds good enough that your Spanish might be suspect.
Yeah, I guess that's the first time I've ever questioned if I speak Spanish and not if I speak fluently English. So, I mean, we're moving on up, Rich. We're moving on up. The English is getting better.
Well, talking about moving on up, it's looking better and better for Wallace to move on up here as he puts a little bit of extra damage on that right-hand side. And against Mao, we were talking about who the heck sees Battle Ram? We're seeing Battle Ram here. We're getting calls from the chat. This might be 3M Ram out of Mao.
I hope it's not. I guess I can say I just don't see it having a lot of success in any type of matchup. Does he have Cage here for the right-hand side for the lead? Hello?
Hello? Wallace? Wallace? Wallace?
Is my mic on? Wallace? Hello? Are you there, my friend?
Wallace?
That could take down 3 Crown. He's going to get 3 Crown here.
Wallace?
Wait. Hello?
What in the world just happened? That must have been a DC. He must have lagged really, really hard. That's the only explanation for having 7 Elixir and just letting 2 E-Barbs go and ruin your towers. So,
yeah, no comment.
Now, keep in mind here, this is interesting because Wallace should lose right now. But as you know, no spells here, no direct damage spells out of Mao. So it's that piggy hanging out.
No, you know what's not going to help? Missing the cage on a battle ram does not help for
No,
sure.
it doesn't.
That battle ram went straight to tower. Not sure what happened in this game for Wallace. It seems like there's connectivity issues. There's some issues somewhere along the lines, but that was just odd.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate happenstance. And this is going to be pretty simple here for Mao to finish off that left-hand tower. 26 HP ain't very much. That pig's into not snout here, and Mother Witch doesn't connect. Come on, making it interesting here.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. The problem is that you have 26 HP on your tower, and you cannot go on offense, because the second you go on offense, it's GG, and it could be GG right there. Yeah. That was odd.
Yeah, my guess here is that was a pretty big disconnect from Wallace. No real explanation for why you have plenty of elixir, and then you let an E-Barb's heal push go and shred your right-hand tower. And that's a big win for Mao for two reasons. One, obviously getting a free win is huge. But number two, getting a free win with a deck that has both Heal Spirit and E-Barbs and Battle Ram and a bunch of other, like, that's a bunch of stuff you're not going to use anywhere else. That's really, really nice for him.
I mean, I also want to congratulate Mao here on being the only player, I think, in the past 3 months to win a competitive match with Battle Ram in your deck. I think that is like, I have not seen, I've seen people use it, but I haven't seen anyone win with it in a long time, be it what it may. There's something showing on the top left, the tower trade.
Oh, yeah, that's up. Oh, you know what? That's on my, you know what's funny? I can actually send this up. That's on my stream side. I clicked someone's message. I could actually be showing Twitch chat messages in my camera.
I thought you were playing a joke on me, and I was like trying to read and catch on to what you were saying.
It's actually really funny. I believe that was Mo. If that is actually Mo Light, I think that was him. He's saying he didn't lag. He just didn't have any card to defend the E-Barbs, and then he tried to tower trade, but took too much damage in his King Tower. So that's what Mo was saying happened there. So very possible, but I mean, I don't know. That seems like a weird choice in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I get the losing the one tower, but it was the damage on the 3 crown that was the worrying thing to me. Like, not defending that at all was the one tower going down is okay when you're playing an E-Giant deck. My issue was you let 2 Elite Barbarians plus a Bandit onto your tower, bring it down to 400 is just like, you're not going to win that game no matter what.
Yep, that's a rough one there. And people asking our champions out for World Finals. Champions will be allowed for our finals next weekend. No official word yet on CRL World Finals. Exactly. So as soon as we know, we'll know. But now we get into it. We're getting to a game 3 here between Mao and Wallace. And let's hope that Wallace has fixed whatever was happening before, whether it was poor choices or poor connections, because this is an elimination match. Best of 1 winner will appear in our $10,000 championship next weekend. Loser will go home with nothing.
Yeah, this is the biggest match of the day for both of these players. This is it. You play a best of 1, and everything that happens after this is great for your seed, but this is the important one right now. You are looking to qualify to those playoffs, then you'll figure out the rest. So I feel like the nerves for the players are at an all-time high right now, not in the next round or the finals or the 3rd place match. This is where it all comes down to. You played all day yesterday, you're playing through the first 2 rounds today, and all for this best of 1.
And Brad saying incoming Archer Queen every deck, except for, Brad, that we do have duel mode, which does not allow you to repeat cards in Royale Masters. Once you win, it's out. And in CRL, there's no repetition whatsoever of cards in duel mode. So that will at least hamstring the Mother Witch a bit. And that's going to be an interesting question, Eric. If we do get full-on champions in CRL World Finals, do you expect that each game, each player features a champion? Or is it possible they might go, hey, I play Archer Queen, I play Golden Knight, and I don't play Skeleton King?
I'm heading that route. Heading that route, and even the Golden Knight is still a sketchy pick. I've seen a lot of pro players, and I've seen a lot of them play it, and it seems like the interactions are just not as consistent as you would want it to be when you have that much money on the line. Sometimes it does this crazy triple dash. I'm gonna get onto tower, take down half your tower, and the other time it's like a half a tile away from the dash that it needs to, and it ends up dashing on just 1 skelly, and then it's completely useless.
Yeah, that is one of the strange parts about on both sides too. There's times when you go, I have a guaranteed King Tower activation here, and then it just hits some stuff, and it's a very unpredictable card in a game that is all about predictability.
Exactly. So when you have that much money riding, like we spoke about earlier, right? round one of that world finals is 15,000, and then you go over to something like round two and it's 25,000. That's $10,000. You want to play it on a card that you have no idea what's actually going to happen, and it's the same thing next weekend, right? Do you really want to risk all that money on a card that really you have no control over? Well, you do, but it's too hard to calculate to say I'm 100% with it.
Here we go. Game number 3. Winner qualifies for our $10,000 championship next weekend. And the other guy, well, he can go play ladder today.
Or just take a rest, man. I mean, I know both of these players will probably not go take the full day rest, but if I lose a match with like that is the one that will qualify me or not, I'm not even touching ladder. I'm getting off and I'm calling it a Sunday, heading to bed and watching some Netflix.
So looking like some fireball bait here on one side, and we'll see if it's similar on the other side. Of course, Dark Prince makes things a bit different here for Wallace.
Yeah, this is a nice thing to have when you're going up against those Royal Hogs. Obviously, Dark Prince, probably the best troop counter other than Mega Knight, in my opinion. Even better than Valk. I think it does just the right. If you place it correctly, it can hit all 4 of them. It does a great amount of damage. But going back to the E-Giant, and this is going to be tough. Going against Zappies and Goblin Cage with E-Giant is a very difficult matchup.
Yeah, but look at that. Inferno Dragon all on the tower. A cheeky NATO here. Fireball not ready yet. And Mao loses a tower just like that. Unbelievable.
I'm a little bit shocked here. Obviously, this might be tower down as well here on the left-hand side. I don't think he's going to play anything at this point. You just save up for another E-Giant. And, I mean, I'm shocked that he got a tower down, and now the game has changed. You have the ability to take those Zappies out by playing a Dark Prince in the pocket. You can play the Barb Barrel as well in the pocket, get those Zappies out of the way, and the E-Giant becomes a lot stronger.
Yeah, this is fascinating, and a little arrow cycle here from Mao, who was at 10, goes ahead and fights against the Elixir Bank there of Wallace's Goblin Cage, and here he goes setting up high against these Zappies.
Yeah, he's setting up the cage in a great spot, but oh my, that's not only, that's taking off a shield, 2 Zappies as well, and tower damage from that Magic Archer. What a nice placement there from him, and look at the Goblin.
Oh, my word.
Wow, this is, I mean, this match could not be a better way to end this specific set. It is going to go down to the wire. All that damage was beautiful, and even then, we basically still have a tie match.
And what we're seeing here, we're seeing this again now, that Mao's going to cycle those Zappies to the outside to avoid precisely what you talked about, with the Barb Barrel and the Dark Prince getting them on the inside. But look for Wallace to try to snipe that same Archer situation again.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I think that cage up high was a little bit risky. In my opinion, he was able to take it down with just his own Goblin Brawler there, and this is going to lead to absolutely no damage here. He's able to set up again. Elixir is a little bit on the advantage here for Wallace as well, and look, a little bit of sizzle is a little bit of sizzle.
19 HP difference right now, minute 45 remaining in this qualifier matchup. The Electro Giant getting down and going to put a little bit of damage on this Flying Machine. And let's see if he does line up that Magic Archer one more time for this push on the right. And there we go.
He sure does, but this is going to miss. Yeah, it was first going to go on to the other one, but at least he's able to get that fireball out of him very early on. He does have cage back in cycle if he needs to use it. A beautiful Barb Barrel just to clean everything up, and it's taking for the Inferno Dragon.
And this is what Wallace wants. Wallace wants to force that fireball out at the bridge every time and prevent as many fireballs on his tower as humanly possible. Whoa, this is a full send here from Mao in the pocket on the King Tower. That's a ton of damage here. Mao trying to shoot the moon best he can, getting that tower way down. Fireball in 6 HP. Can Wallace get this tower? Oh my word! Wallace gets it done by 6 HP! No way! Mao leaves the damage on the table, Wallace slides right through, and that's why he is one of the best players in the world right now.
Wow. Hey. I feel so bad for Mao, but that was an incredible match. That Barb Barrel that he put in at the last minute there, Wallace on defense, is the reason he won that game. If he did not over defend with that Barb Barrel just to be safe, that was one more Hoggy hit and game over. What a match. What a match.
what a match from top to bottom, right? This was a great match from game number 1 all the way through game number 3. Back and forth play, and man, Mao just he went full send in the pocket when that Electro Giant came down, had a great opportunity for it, and just by the slimmest of margins, left that on the tower. Man, unbelievable, and what heads-up play for Wallace to recognize that pocket Magic Archer could finish off the game.
Look, I'm going to call it, and Mao, that was such a great play. That was the only way he wins that game. I think slowly but surely he was losing control and losing the lead little by little, continuously defending, and he was ready for it. He you know, in his mind, it was like, as soon as I see that E-Giant, I am going all in. Very, very heads-up play. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but it was a beautiful play by Mao and a beautiful overall set, in my opinion.
Yeah, unbelievable. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket. You know what just happened. Wallace stealing that win, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat, and now we have our 4 last chance qualifiers. Goku, Mohamed Light, Magma, and Wallace, and that is one heck of a lineup, and we're not done yet, folks. We are going to go through and play the semifinal matches, the finals, and the third place match to figure out our seeding as these players go into next weekend. And look, you're looking at this one here, Eric, and these are going to be the 5th through 8th seeds, but good luck 1st through 4 when you have especially Mohamed Light and Wallace somewhere as your 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th seed.
I've never wanted to not be a 1 through 4 seed more in my life if I am one of those players watching this. I wish I would have qualified today alongside Wallace and Mo instead of having to deal with them in possible first-round matchups. 2 people are going to get 2 of the top players in the world, arguably the best player in the world, and the other one a top 10 player in the world right now as well.
Let's go ahead and jump into our first semi-final matchup. Mohamed Light up against Goku to decide who will go to our finals here today. And I'm very curious to see what kind of stuff they pull out here. Knowing they've all qualified, I'm sure Mo does not care about his seed whatsoever. This might be a bit of a chance to try things out.
Yeah, I mean, Mo could not care less, in my opinion. He's the one that everyone doesn't want to match up against, and not the other way around. So at this point, if you're Mo, you just finish off today. If you want to go for the win, also, I mean, look, Mo knows he can beat anyone, but at the same time, if he can try to get a specific matchup, it might not be all that bad of a play. You have full control of who you go up against. I'm never in favor of, you know, throwing any sort of match. We know the, what's the thing with what happened with Space Station kind of ish. We don't really, no confirmation on that, but it ended up with them playing Pain instead of Tribe, and that did not work out so well. So be very careful when you choose your opponents in a matchup. You don't want the same outcome there.
And I'm going to go ahead and see if I can figure out who the 1 through 4 seeds are for this one and lay that one out. We can have some information on what kind of seeds we're competing for here as the wall breakers do connect left-hand side. And Mo maybe giving a bit of shade here to Goku.
I missed it. I was reading chat. I missed the what did I miss from Mo throwing out the shade?
Yeah, some well plays after some significant damage here. So yeah, I don't know if maybe Goku got wrong of him on Twitter.
Moku, new ship on the block. With the Moku, there's definitely not a lot of love from what I'm seeing in this match so far with the Moku here, but Mo is just dominating him.
So interesting thoughts here on seeds, right? That you definitely, if you're Mohamed Light, want to be the number 1 or number 2 seed. So we're going to see him. Oh, and he's just BM fireballing here. What is happening? What kind of stuff is going on between Goku and Mo? Someone pull up Twitter. I guess it's 100-0 for Mo, says Viking, but man, this got some attitude on it.
Yeah, and I was just looking at seeds 1 through 4 here, and there's no way anyone's throwing for that 8th seed. I can tell you that much. Yeah,
well, that's the big thing, right? Is Mo definitely wants to be the number 1 or number 2 seed.
Yeah.
Does not want to play Lucas in round number 1 if he doesn't have to. The question is, does he is Ian or Legolas? I'd say that those are both pretty even matchups for Mo. Maybe Ian's a little bit higher on that list than Legolas right now, but either one of those are pretty even matchups in my opinion for Mo.
Yeah, I think the big key to victory here in setting yourself up for a good playoffs is you got to win your semifinals match. if you win your semifinals match, obviously Ian and Legolas are great players, but I mean, the other two are Wero and Lucas. It's very simple. You never want to play Wero or Lucas. You rather go up against the less experienced players in Ian and Legolas. They both had big tournament wins so far this year. They've both been playing very well, but they're not Lucas and Wero.
You know, I would say this. If I am trying to find my matchup, honestly, I would rank the top 4 in terms of, from competitive play standpoint, I would go Lucas, Ian, Wero, Legolas. I might put Leonis as a... You know, we've seen... Wero's obviously a great ladder player, but I feel like we've seen more from Ian in competitive than we have seen from Wero.
We have to be careful with that in the sense that, remember, Wero could not play the first 3 months of qualifiers. He did not have an account.
Fair.
And within that, he was still in that LCQ, and he was towards the top end of that LCQ. So I think if he would have had the full year, we would be seeing Wero in World Finals. And you're right in the sense that we would probably be seeing him in the same fashion we're seeing Anaban in the World Finals, based on full-on ladder placements. But when someone is... You have Anaban at number 1, then you have Igor, in my opinion, at number 2 in all-time ladder, and in number 3 is Wero. And anyone in that top 3, top 4 area, you don't want to face anytime.
Sure.
Competitive or ladder mechanics are just on another level. Game understanding is on another level. I'd rather go for Ian. Yes, he's been having more success than Wero in competitive, but you know there's a little more room to work with.
Well, talking about room to work with right now, Goku trying to find out, what do I do against the best player in the world with the best analysis in the world, who just shut me down. Man, I mean, that was basically like the batteries at Jurassic Park. That system, whole thing crashed, and Mo ran that way all the way to victory.
There seems to be like a little added incentive for Mo here with all the BM, maybe some little beef going on from before. And I mean, if Mo wasn't already scary enough to play, I can't imagine if you're going up against Mo and he has something to prove against you specifically. It's not looking good, and it's probably going to end up in a Lucas or Wero first round matchup here for Goku.
Yeah, and Jose in the Twitch chat saying Muhammad just has a better gaming chair, which honestly I think that might be a big part of it. Let's see. Oh, and Latak coming out with some insight. Goku BM'd Mo in CRL 6 months ago. Man.
No grudges. Mo holds no grudges, clearly, right? I'm glad I'm in good standing since before Mo was even a pro player, because probably if I would have said something 3 years ago, I would still be getting BM'd by him. But, I mean, I'm all
6 months ago.
I'm all for it. You know what? Mo probably BMs 2 people the whole year. So once he gets the opportunity, he's trying to let it all out here. And you know what? Neither of them shied away from it. They both went at it. The only problem is one of them was winning in a very dominant fashion.
Yeah, and Latak saying that coming from Mo's coach Julesy. So that seems like it's probably pretty good information here. What is BM? Says Hobos for sale. That is throwing a ton of emotes that are indicating, you know, I saw Clash Royale memes every once in a while come out hot, and there was a Clash Royale meme I saw the other day that showed like the intention of each emote, like good job, well played, like, oh, you made me feel bad, and then the actual translation is all just you suck for every single one.
Completely different. BM is actually stands for the best manners.
Yes. Yeah, you're treating people so well with those, those BMs. Let's hear Mr. James, that guy, as we're waiting for game number 2, which will happen as soon as they are ready. Your opinion, what's the best legendary? My favorite is the Magic Archer.
Favorite legendary for me is... You know what? I don't mind that pick. I really don't. I think it's one of those picks where it's just like... It added so much to the game. The way I see cards is not what is the most powerful, but how much did it add to the game and how much did it change on impacting. And I think that's one of those cards that's so unique that I don't mind that answer at all.
So Hoggy Q here for Goku, Mo going Mega Knight Ram Rider, and you know, assuming you don't get out-cycled, that could be pretty rough here for Goku.
Yeah, I mean, I just think I've never seen Mo play against someone he really wants to beat, and I'm so scared for Goku right now. It's really all that comes to mind right now. I'm just like, it's towered down and the game just started. He's gonna start BMing. There it is. Guys, if you've learned anything from this, is please never BM Mo. It's not gonna end well for you.
Don't do it. I mean, like, don't BM Mo now because you might need a loan from his bank in 30 years, and he'll deny you and your small business fails. You know what I mean? That's the level of grudges it seems like Mo's carrying right now, as this is just shut down city.
Yeah, this is so bad. I feel, you know, you made it all this way, and then you probably shouldn't have even showed up for this match if you knew Mo was going to come in angry against you. This is tough. Even if he cycles through now, Mo has his Mega Knight back in cycle this time around. He's getting some damage in, but he's still down a full tower, and you don't really come back a full tower on Mo.
Inferno Dragon low, Mega Knight ready to pick all this up. There goes Mega Knight right at the bridge. And that Hog might get one hit here, decides not to snowball it. Interesting.
Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, yeah, not to snowball, but we have a Ghost, a Mega Knight, an Inferno Dragon, all coming through here. A Bandit to get directly onto the Tesla Mother, which, oh no.
I'm pretty sure he just dropped a Shelly from Brawl Stars in there as well, so pretty much everything on the board right now for Molite.
Yeah, and that Mother Witch is still up somehow. I'm not too sure how that happened, but overall, not that bad of a defense here. Mega Knight could come down again. He can snowball this time around if he wants to. There's a snowball, no damage coming in. He is going to take this tower possibly if he can cycle quick enough.
Yeah, but no log here to get the full spell damage in, so would need to get a Hog on, and I think the Ram Rider will slow it down enough. Does the Hog hit? No, it doesn't. You're not going to be in.
It not only slowed it down, but it got directly in front of it, so it was like body blocking it as well. And Goku, you tried. You tried, and it's still, you qualified, which is the important part. You did qualify through. I can also tell you your third place and fourth place match will probably be a little bit easier than this one, but Mo's just too good.
And now go ahead and you got to play for your poison, right? And that's an interesting one because you're playing for either... And look, this is actually... I would say this, that third place match is going to be impactful because the winner of the third place match is... well, actually, interesting. That third place match, the loser will end up facing Wero, and the winner will face Lucas. So this might be a very a compelling third place match.
We're just gonna sit there and watch two people tie for an hour because they both want to lose the game. I mean, look, like I was saying, you never want to go up against Wero, but after Mo, the most the most dominant player of the year has been Lucas. So if I'm sitting in there in that third and fourth place match, I definitely want to lose it. It's just that simple. I know you if there was a prize pool and everything that like big right now, maybe you go for that third place. But I think the big money is in that playoffs, and that's where you really want to go. I'm all for them playing it out, and so be it. But I have a feeling one of them is going to have a preference on who they play.
And Julesy, Mo's coach in the Twitch chat right now giving some pretty good insight here that 6 months ago, Mohamed Light disconnected during a match in CRL, and Goku BM'd. And he says, we didn't forget. And
I would have never been able to tell you didn't forget.
Yeah.
I think, Julesy, if you did not clarify that you guys did not forget, I would have never known. I thought it was just two friends bantering it up and having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I have this feeling that somewhere in Mo or Julesy's war room, there's actually a picture of Goku with the eyes scratched out and a bunch of holes from darts on the wall. That's just what I think happened. I'm going to assume that's the story, and that's the story I'm going to tell from now on.
I feel like there was also in Jules's, like files of analysis, there was like every player and then just one specific for Goku of like hours and hours of work. This is what we play against Goku. We will never forget this. And if we ever see these two play each other again, I'm calling it, whether it's a year down the road, we're going to see the same type of BM.
All right, guys. Well, we only have a couple more matches left. Our last semifinal, our final, and our third place match to figure out our seeding. So we'll be right back here in a couple of moments. Grab some water, grab some cookies, grab some chips, get your popcorn, because we've got some great Clash Royale here after the break. And welcome back, folks. It's been a fun one so far. We have 2 more matches left for you on stream here today. We have our second semifinal to decide who will make it into our finals, and of course our championship for this one. And then we'll give you your 4 seeds to go into our championship weekend next time around. 10K, that's a big one. And Eric, as you and I were talking, some of these matchups have been challenging, and they're going to get even worse for some of these players next weekend.
Yeah, this was, I mean, Goku, at least you're already mentally prepared for next weekend, I guess I can say. Like, that's the positive take from all this. You already played the best player in the tournament, the best player in Clash. So for everyone else, it's going to get tougher. I think for Goku, it's going to get a little bit easier. So, I mean, just focus on next week.
Well, for Goku, at least you don't have to play Mo in the first round next week, right? That's the big one, since they are both going to be on the lower end of the seeds. He gets to avoid Mo. So I would almost say that he's like, okay, look, at least I'm in, and next week I'll have Wero or Lucas. Either one of those is a better choice for him right now.
Yeah, I mean, at least they're not holding a grudge, you know? That's a positive thing. I hope. We never know. Maybe we show up and, you know, Lucas and Mo are really, really, really good friends. So maybe you see a little bit there from Lucas on, like, you BM'd my friend, I'm coming at you also. Probably safer bet, go with Wero, you know, just for you know, safe bet wise. Maybe Julesy's a little bit inclined to help Lucas out just against Goku as well, even though it seems like after last match they don't really hold that big of a grudge. Yeah,
maybe it's all under the bridge maybe here, or maybe the full Goku dossier gets shows up in either Wallace's or Wero's inbox before next weekend. So we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead into our other semifinal. Another great one here. Again, one of the top 10 at least competitive players out of the USA right now in Magma, has been on Team USA in the last couple of years, up against one of the multitude of world-class players out of Brazil in Wallace.
Yeah, and you know who I'm rooting for. I mean, nothing against Magma, but I need to prove a point here that I was right in my choice. So I just have to stick with it.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Magma has made it this far today. Obviously a very talented, competitive player. As you've mentioned, Wallace has been on another level, and we'll see if he continues that level here. Dark Prince, there was a time, we talked about this a lot in playing Royal Giant here as Wallace, where Dark Prince and Baby Dragon were in basically every deck, to the point where it became a running joke during the CRL 2019 broadcasts about how ubiquitous Dark Prince and Baby Dragon were, and now you don't see very much Dark Prince anymore.
I can't imagine if duels format would have been implemented back then. Imagine 2v2, for example. 2v2 with duels format would have been so difficult to actually work through, but I think it would have made it so much fun. You would have seen so many weird decks out of different teams. I actually would not mind to see that at some point, someone try to just run something like that and see what happens. But back then, yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I really like duels format. It got to the point where people would run the same 2 to 3 decks for the whole season in CRL, and it was just a guessing game on whether they would run it first, second, or third, and whoever got the matchup, that's who won.
Especially once we had no bans in CRL, right? Which definitely limited some of your planning. Yeah. You know, what I think I really like, I thinking about duel mode, I like in a normal best of 3, I think my preference is the CRL style duel mode. I'm not sure yet, but I think it is. In a best of 5, this style duel mode, which in my opinion, this version of duel mode where you lose cards for a deck you win with, makes duels very applicable to King of the Hill, which is everyone's favorite version of competitive Clash.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100% on that. And the only other thing that I would change, in my opinion, obviously, we aren't able to do it with the current duels format, because when you have a double elimination bracket, you can't play a best of 5 with the current duels format. But I would have loved it if we found a way where you can play best of 5s, and the double elimination, instead of getting a full set, you actually, the winner's bracket gets a 1-game advantage, because I feel like 2 full sets is just too much. But if he starts off 1-0 in a best of 5, I think it lends itself for some great moments.
Well, let's see what kind of great moments Wallace has in store for us here. Giant downhill push. Dark Prince Fisherman and Royal Giant Fireball in. Doesn't get the Mother Witch here from Wallace. A bit of a shocker here out of the Brazilian.
Yeah, he's still able to take it down. Yeah, takes down the Mother Witch, but definitely a very odd Fireball, no doubt. He is back in the lead, but that Graveyard, once it's comboed with that Fireball onto the Mother Witch, is going to be a difficult thing to stop. Yes, he does have the Dark Prince, so I would not use it until you can get that Dark Prince out of him, which he just did, and now might be a good time after this push to get a Graveyard going.
Final 90 seconds. Magma's offense a bit stunted here as we get into these later moments, but right now trying to win the bridge fight.
He can't Graveyard anymore because he used that Fireball, so the Mother Witch would just get endless amounts of value here. But he actually, wow, what an odd play out of Wallace there, playing that Mother Witch up high, getting taken out by the cannon cart when the cage was still alive. This Dark Prince reroutes all the way back, and cage should be coming down here at any point.
Barbell ripped that cage off the board here. Final 50 seconds, triple elixir flowing, and that's going to be one shot from the Royal Giant, 2287 to 1771.
And again, no Fireball in cycle for him, so this Mother Witch should be a ton of value if a Graveyard comes in. And he's not been able to Graveyard because Wallace has been forcing out those Fireballs constantly out of him. This should be a Hoggy spawned up as well. Fireball could come in here from Wallace onto the Mother Witch. There it is, so just to take off some pressure from the counter push.
Smart play here by Magma to split that Goblin Cage far to the left there and make enough room. He can't Fireball both the cage and the Mother Witch. Trying to hold on, he is, but with 15 seconds left, it's feeling like the end of the road here. No tank getting through. This Graveyard is do or die for Magma.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't think he has enough to deal with that, not enough damage to do. And Wallace does take game number one, and Wallace, just do not replicate game number 2 from the last set, and we should be good here for a 2-0 win for Wallace.
That's a really nice opening win there for Wallace in this one, and we'll see if he can get the second one down. And that was Magma going what might be, I guess, going with the traditional Air Surfer emote. Maybe that's the new emote of Team USA. Who knows? The gold pig, but well done there for Wallace. And let's see, take a look at the chat here for a moment. You know, we were talking about that. Let's revisit this as we're waiting for game number 2. Talking about this version of dual mode and how it separates. This has been really fun. Benny Slug, by the way, you've asked us many times, Benny Slug 11, got any tips? So I'll answer it finally, yes. Wear sunscreen because your skin over time develops sun damage, and if you don't wear sunscreen regularly, as you get older, you have to get stuff frozen off or cut out. It's very, very important for your long-term health. So talking about this, thank you very much. This dual mode thing with RoyaleMSTRS, the dual mode where you only lose decks that you win with.
He just answered KK in the chat. He liked it as well.
It's good advice, to be honest. I come with the good stuff, all the best tips. I do think that this one, you know, there's 3 different ways to play competitive Clash Royale, right? There's no modifiers whatsoever. There's bans, which honestly, I think bans are kind of behind the times now.
Yeah.
And then there's this version of, there's dual modes. Now, the question is whether you play the everything gets out after each game dual mode, or the version we're playing here where you lose stuff you win with. It feels like, especially in King of the Hill, that in a 5-game set, that becomes so compelling, right? Because in game 2, one player has 8 cards out, one has plenty. It does feel like it also makes it so that King of the Hill can swing back and forth, because if you lose the first 2 games, your opponent has 16 cards banned and you have none, and that gives you so much more flexibility for deck picking.
Absolutely. And if I had to have my choice at the one we play in CRL or this one, I genuinely like this one a lot more. I think it's a lot better for the players. It's a lot better for the spectators. It's just more fun overall. You can constantly keep your opponent guessing if you're down. You truly have an advantage if you're losing in the set, which lends itself to a lot more game 3s, which is what everyone likes to watch.
Yep. And talking about that advantage right now, it's Magma taking the Fireball onto the Magic Archer. So good start here for Magma as he opens up the scoring.
Yeah, and he has a lead and he has a Fireball always for that Magic Archer, which is also good news for him. You never want to play. There's 2 cards that will really mess you up if you have no counters to them, and those are Flying Machines and Magic Archers. If you cannot get those off the board, they will be so frustrating to play against constantly throughout the match. So having a Fireball and seeing a Magic Archer is definitely good news. But we have a witch on the board for the first time in 3.5 years.
Is Bag playing?
Which giant? Is this a level 3 account? Hello?
Which giant? Is this great? Is this just Witch Giant, or is this Witch Giant Graveyard? This is bananas from Magma.
Yeah, he's I mean, he's definitely going for it in this. the thing that the only issue I have here from Magma is it's a very risky deck, but it's not just about the fact that if you lose this, you're out for today. It's if you lose this, you have Wero or Lucas. This is not a time to risk, man. There is a very big difference between Legolas and Ian versus Wero and Lucas, in my opinion. So, I mean, just a very odd and very risky play out of Magma here. It could end up working out, but I don't know. This is tough.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best word for it. Magic Archer doesn't get geometry here, and the Fireball also touches that Ram Rider, so not a great sequence there for Wallace. And wow, this is a big push coming down from Magma.
I think he wins here.
Does he have it for the go?
No, he has a lot of elixir. Okay, he has more elixir than I thought. Okay. I should have stuck by what I said. Now I look like I don't know what I'm talking about both times. So I don't know if this is gonna get to anything here. A nice fireball as well. Snowball gonna come in, but he needs to really get this tower fully down right now, and it just doesn't seem like it's gonna happen, in my opinion.
That U is going down did him no favors, and now Magma throwing out some a little bit of laughter here. This is fascinating. The Ram Rider not going to be there in time to stop the Giant. That's going to be a GG, a well played, and Magma letting loose here on the emotes.
Yeah, I love to see it. I mean, semifinals changed people. You changed. You changed players. You definitely did, and I don't know what to say about that deck. It was impossible for Wallace to expect it. I know that for a fact, but Magma, I'm all for it, man. I love the off meta. I enjoyed watching it. Would I have done the same thing as you? No shot, but it worked out, and good on you.
Would I be personally cursing your name if I faced you on ladder and you won with that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I'd be saying, wow, what a trash player. I would say for the 5,000th time, oh, congrats on being the worst person I've ever lost to. That's the feelings that it would engender, but in this moment, great pick out of Magma, and maybe in the head of Wallace a bit, although I'll say this. Of all the players who are playing at this high level, it seems like Wallace is one of the least tiltable, the guys who it's hardest to get inside the head of, out of a lot of guys who we're talking about these days.
And I think it has to do with how many semi-pro leagues he's played. You watch those semi-pro leagues, and BM is just flying everywhere. The Twitter trash talk, the BM in-game, and Wallace played a lot of semi-pro leagues compared to most pros of his level right now. Wallace was in there for, I think, 2 to 3 years playing in the Brazilian leagues, in the no-tilt leagues, in everything. And I mean, the good thing that comes out of it is no one's going to BM you more or trash talk you more than when you played in those leagues. And I guess that's why he's so unaffected by it right now.
Yeah, that's one of those guys who's certainly talented there. And, you know, I guess there's also just how do you've gone through so much on the difficult side of it. When you do get the payoff there, some guys, they feel the pressure in them. Some guys, they just go, oh, I've already paid all the dues, and now it's just the payoff that I get. So, yeah, Wallace certainly mentally strong, and that's a big part of the success we saw for Pain Gaming and CRO World Finals. Talked about it before, but in that matchup against Nova Esports, 7-0 for Wallace under high pressure situations. A great game against LCOP, a first ballot, maybe first class of Hall of Famers in LCOP, and that speaks to the mental fortitude of Wallace. He's going to need that now here against Magma, who right now we're coming down to a best of one anyone's game, and Magma right now has to feel good because he knows he can pull one over on Wallace if needed.
This is a huge match. This is the difference between a first round match against a top 3 player in the world throughout 2021, or against someone who's moving up in the rankings right now. 2 rookies, you can say, in Ian and Legolas. This is, do you want to face the top of the top in Clash, or are you going to face one of the people that are moving on up? But definitely nerves can kick in for those players a lot more, inexperience, deck choices, and everything. So this best of one, if you're Wallace and Magma, you put it all on the line right now.
Yep, that's the basic idea. Let's go look at the chat here for a moment, which I know I can see has been popping off quite a bit. So let's go ahead and check in to see what you animals are tweeting about or texting about here. Tweeting about what you guys are mentioning here in the chat. Not sure what Drock is saying about what I look at his tweet, or at his tweet. Why do I keep calling it a tweet? At his message. No idea there. Bombs asked my personal best. I already put it in the chat there. 6606 is my PB. Not great, not terrible, just kind of above average, I guess is the best way to put it. Peachy, good luck on your tournament. But yeah, we have something going on here right now. I don't know if you've noticed that we're in the middle of something at the moment here. Mr. James, that guy asking for MK or Princess. I say MK. Which one should you unlock first, Eric?
In the current meta, MK 100%. I think in the most metas that you're going to see from now moving on forward in the game, it should be MK, unless you're a log bait one trick. Obviously, if that's the type of deck that you want to run, then you go Princess. But when Princess originally came out, it was very useful because there was only log really that would take it out. Now there's like 1,000 different ways to get rid of the Princess, so it's just not as useful anymore. And someone also asked, do you think we'll ever get live matches again? Absolutely, but priority right now is health. And we're still not in a state where the world can just travel. Remember, Clash Royale has the greatest ability out of any online game when playing matches, and it's that you don't deal with ping, right? You play Counter-Strike matches, you play even Brawl Stars matches, anything. You have to deal with ping playing cross-regional. We do not have to risk the health of anyone because there is no ping and there's nothing to worry about. So I'm sure we'll get back to it at some point, but it has to be in the right situation.
6 Loon from Magma against Lava Miner for Wallace, and this feels like could be some rough going here for the American.
Wait, is this Lava Miner? Or is this just the weirdest like deck of all time? I don't even know what we're gonna get here from. Yeah, I don't.
It might just be Miner Control.
Right. I assume you're right, but it could also be some very odd deck. All right, you're right. After what we saw last game, I was not jumping to conclusions.
Yeah, Lava Miner Tesla is just so interesting.
Yeah, that's why it threw me off a bit, just because I don't think I've seen Miner Lava Tesla ever, but at the same time, it's usually because Tesla's out first game after someone used a Hog deck or a Miner deck to already win.
And Zappy's going to be real hard for that Inferno Dragon. The sixth man going to be struggling. This is interesting. I really thought that this one was going to favor Wallace, but cycling not quite quickly enough on defense and finds himself in a hole.
Yeah, Magma full-on BM as well there, and right now, if those arrows would have came in right as the archers were down, that would have been an amazing play from him. That Inferno Dragon would have probably connected for a ton of damage onto tower. Snowball was on a cycle. Everything was gone, but this is going to be a whole lot of damage yet again. Yeah, I think he needs to be a little more careful with his lava play, in the sense that you can play all your other troops and then play your lava on the bridge, so at least you already have the defense down.
Yeah, this is some really out there stuff, and basically he needs to go get a 3 crown now, or that's going to be Wallace dropping into the lower side of our bracket.
This could be 3 crown though. This is a very strong push, and yes, he only has 30 seconds, but you need to get that. He defends his left-hand side. You force out that snowball there. That lava is not the play though.
This is curious. This is interesting. 15 seconds left.
Arrows.
Snowball has to go out on offense. The Inferno Dragon going to get in, and oh my gosh, here we go. Tower down. Unbelievable. He does it again. He does it again. Who is this man?
Magma, there's only one thing worse than losing, and it's BMing and then losing after you have the lead. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
I haven't opened up Twitter in a while, just because, you know, I'm on full relaxation mode, but I think today I'm just gonna follow Wallace for a little bit and see. I mean, that's one of those times where you just gotta say something.
Bro, who is Wallace today? Wallace is coming out with the craziest wins ever today. This has been absolutely nuts, and it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, that was just, I don't know what happened. I wish I could tell you. That was just, it seemed like Wallace started off with bad plays and then ended up with like, all right, I'm going God mode right now, and I'm going to stop your drill, and I'm going to get the right push, and I'm going to get the right counter. I'm going to lava in the pocket. I'm going to have my arrows ready, and just very downhill very quickly there. Dude, for Magma.
Wallace out here breaking phones in back-to-back games. So that's absolutely insane. Wallace has a good chance of winning $10,000 or $5,000 this weekend. And if you do, maybe just send like an iPhone 8 to Mao and to Magma just to get them back in the game, because
probably not to
word.
Magma just because of the BM probably won't happen. But Mao was a good sport. You can send him one. Sure.
Let's go ahead and check out our bracket here. Man, what a day. What a day indeed. And we're going on to our final here. Goku and Magma are going to play at the same time as our final. We'll just watch our final here. So Goku and Magma will play their third place game. And we're going to see a match we could certainly see at CRL World Finals between two top young players on the planet in Mohamed Light and Wallace. What a great final we're going to get here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. This is for sure a World Finals possibility in the very late rounds of the World Finals. This is a match that, I mean, we could expect to see, even in that double elimination and everything, this could be a World Finals match.
So we're going to take a couple moments here as Wallace gets his decks ready for this last one. And man, what a crazy one, people. I'm seeing some interesting, some salseo in the Twitch chat over here. So, we'll see if people can sort things out on that side. I did see a question. Do I think that Morton has a chance of winning World Finals? Yeah. There are 32 players. They all have a chance. That's kind of the point of why they play. And Morton has as good or better a chance than a lot of those players who are in there.
I think he has a great chance. I think it's the look. I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this, but out of all the World Finals he's been to, I think this is the one with the least amount of chance he has. He still has a good chance, but when you look back on it, I think last year he was nicely set up. I think the year before that, it was basically us or them. In my opinion, it was a 1 HP difference.
Yep.
But I think this year he just has more competition than ever. I think there's people that obviously are fully focused on the competitive play and not content as well, like Mo and Lucas and Red. So I think out of all 3 years, this is probably going to be the hardest one for him.
Yeah, I think that, last year they obviously had it in hand with the two-set lead. And then, of course, if you watched last year, one of the craziest turnarounds that we've ever seen there. But Morton does have Cody Go in round one, and Cody Go is a fine player, but that's a matchup that you hope that you kind of think that Morton has a pretty big advantage in. So we'll see if Morton can win that bet. It all comes down to, here's the big thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to predict anyone with the format from here. Once we get through day one and get past all the the single elimination, get to the double, that's when you can have real conversations as to who has a real chance or not. Because any of these players can win or lose one BO3.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. That day one is going to be brutal. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of people very upset at, one hard counter in that game 3 or something along those lines. It's going to be rough. It is going to be very, very rough, but double elimination is going to be so much fun. So we're going to have to go through one really rough day, and then we get to have all the fun in the next matches.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing some preview stuff. Maybe you'll join me, I don't know, for some preview discussion on some of these matches, some of these players. It's going to be a crazy lineup, and two players who we're going to see. Mohamed Light is going to be in our final here in a moment, and he'll be facing off against Rad at CRL World Finals. And Wallace, who will be his opponent today, is up against Famous Kid. So both of our players playing against CRL Eastern players in their next round. And, of course, both of those players moving on to our finals next weekend. And if you haven't yet, those of you watching, whether you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe and or follow. Make sure you hit that bell. Ring notifications on so that you don't miss the action next weekend, because next weekend we have our top 8 players playing for our championship, our $10,000 prize pool. So make sure you're back here again. Follow, subscribe, whatever it might be, and we'll see you here for a big one. But we still have one more final match today, and we're getting to it in a moment. We're giving Wallace some time to pick decks and get ready for it. So Eric, Wallace has been your guy all day. You've been saying Wallace, Wallace, Wallace. Well, you sound like one of the younger Brady sister, Marsha. That's an outdated reference here if I ever threw one in. So you've been saying Wallace all day, but now it's Mo. You're on the chopping block here, man. What's the pick?
Wallace.
Dude, didn't
Wallace
even look away from the
face.
camera.
Straight face Wallace. I stick by my choices.
So Wallace is the pick for Eric. Let's go ahead in the chat right now. Let me know what you got. Is it Wallace or Mohamed Light as the winner for this upcoming match, this best of 3? I see one for Wallace. I see one for Momo. So we'll go ahead and keep you guys coming in. I do see Cody and Hawk saying Worlds December 3rd through 5th. That's absolutely correct. Let's see. Awesome 885 saying Light. Peachy saying Mo. K King saying obviously Mo. Peachy Mo. Quark says Mo. A few for Wallace here. We're getting Bill Laughter saying Wallace, but pretty much. We get Quark saying Molus, which I'll go with that one.
Everyone's saying Mo for the most part. I called before the day started that Wallace was going to win it all today, so I'm not going to change it up at the end. That is not the way I roll. I'm sticking by Wallace. I mean, he's had some crazy matches today. He made it this far by very little HP. We can all confirm that, and some good luck as well on his side. But let's see what he can do. I'm excited for this final match.
Yeah, I think that's a big one. Wallace wins by a collective 3 HP, so 3 1 HP. Actually, 2 1 HP wins. 1 by 1 HP, 1 by 2 HP. There you go. So that he's playing Mo. There will be no luck for Wallace, says Lord Baelish. So there you go. That's one thought on this one. Man, gotta take a moment here. Of course, they've both qualified for our next stage already, so neither one is going to miss out on the prize pool and on that moment. But of course, the big one is who do you want to match up against? And This is interesting, right? Because I think that, of course, both of them getting that 4 and 5 spot. I personally think that you'd rather take Legolas in round 1 than take Ian. I don't know if you concur on that one.
I agree. I'm going to have to agree. I would rather go up against Legolas than I would rather go up against Ian. I think both of these players should be moving on regardless. I think they should both win that match. They're both favored in it. But if I had to pick one person to go up against, it'd definitely be Legolas.
Let's go ahead and jump into the chat here, or not in the chat, into the gameplay. And just a little bit ahead here, it is Wallace at the bottom, having already played Valk and Spears, and Molite at the top, looking like it might be Ram Rider.
Yeah, and Poison available for Magic Archer, which is another good sign here for Mo. And Minor Wall Breakers, let's see if he catches him off without anything in hand. No, he definitely does not catch him off with something, you know, not available to defend. Big Mega Knight push coming down now, and he does have 6 elixir on top if he does want to help it out just a little bit. And nice
does
King Tower activation.
Yeah, that's very nice. You know, I'm used to the double jump King Tower activation.
Yeah.
I have to add that one to my book. I've never actually done the pull and then NATO for that. I'm sure it's pretty basic, but I've just never done it that way.
Yeah, it's just not the usual things you see, right? It's not the usual King Tower activation. Like you said, it's usually there, and then you have something else that takes it to the tower. Very nicely done, though, by Wallace. I thought it was a little bit scary of a situation when I first saw the defense. I was like, Wallace, what's going on here? But everything was well calculated.
So interesting chess match as we get past the first 90, now 100 seconds of gameplay. It is the lead for the Brazilian, formerly of Pain Gaming, for Wallace, who's representing Tribe this season out. And of course, Tribe has had some great success with their Clash Royale roster.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem... look, I know BM's not for everyone, but after seeing those last 2 matches, I was kind of in the mood for a little BM, and it seems like these 2 players are just not going to BM each other no matter what. We're going to get some good clash, but I was in the BM mood, Rich, and now no one's BMing. Jules, you got to get a little bit of BM there, you know? Spice it up, get ready for Worlds.
Yeah, Julesy, did Wallace give Mohammed like a weird look 2 years ago? Is there anything you can use to motivate this one?
Was there one tweet within the last 700 days around there that we can, you know, kind of hinge on for a little bit of BM? But it doesn't seem like it. I think Wallace is too nice of a person to honestly do anything. And nice block there by Wallace to make sure that is rerouted over onto the bomb tower. But the Bandit's going to connect onto the tower, and that is a big lead. And now for Mo. Not the first or the last time we're going to say that, probably. And
Mo doing a great job of forcing the bomb tower into inopportune timing and placement, right? That's been absolutely huge for him. He's taking good advantage of it, and we're seeing the result with that 1143 on the right-hand side.
Yeah, and this Mega Knight just played in the back, does not really care for those 2 wall breakers that are going to connect there. And it's going to be a pretty strong push here on the right. The Mother Witch there will not really spawn in any Hoggies just because the Bandit taking care of that first. But look at the Mother Witch now. Now is where it starts to get a lot trickier. The bomb tower is distracted over there by the Mother Witch. He has to use his NATO, but the NATO's not going to be enough. Ram Rider's in now, and he is back to bomb tower possibly. I'm not sure. No, he is not.
No, not in time. And the ghost going around the Mother Witch. You know, we've talked about Mo's interactions. Yeah. And there's one that I posted as one of the best predictions of all time, where Mohamed Light played a miner in front of a cannon cart to bump the cannon cart out of aggro range to the middle and kept it on tower. And people were like, oh, that was lucky. You're trying to predict this thing. I don't buy that for a second. That what you just saw there was the same kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I genuinely believe that it was not luck. Mo knows exactly what he's doing. You know, the consistency level throughout this year doesn't come through luck. It just doesn't happen. He is, I've said it a million times and I'll say it again, he is one step ahead of everyone else that is playing Clash Royale right now.
Miner in to stick the Mother Witch in the back, but Mega Knight ties it all together. This is a nice little Magic Archer. It's not going to be enough to save the game, although cycles Magic Archer again. Can that beat Poison? 77 HP. NATO in. No way! No way! Unbelievable! Wallace does it again! Wallace does it again! This boy is cracked! Unbelievable!
Wallace is on something today, and I mean, I don't know if he's lacking adrenaline in his life and he was like, I'm just gonna let all the games be 20 HP. I gotta get the adrenaline flowing. But that end of game was you could not ask for a better sequence of Clash Royale from any player, especially playing against someone like Mo, than what he just did there. He not only hit one Magic Archer, he had the other one lined up ready to go for when that goes lined up yet again. Got the miner in.
Dude, Wallace is luckier than a hero in an 80s action movie. Like, I don't think if you shot a whole machine gun at him, not a single bullet would hit this kid. It is unbelievable what he's doing today.
I mean, look, when I picked him, I was not expecting this. I'm not that big of like, you know, oh yeah, he's gonna make all these comebacks, but hey, my pick's looking good right now.
Hey, Booth, I don't know if there's any chance that we can get a replay for that last 30. I know that we are like built out for replay. If there is any way for us to rewatch those last 30 seconds while we're waiting for our next game, or last 20 seconds, that would be phenomenal. I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch Wallace's games today. I might have to make a video about what Wallace did today just on its own. Yeah, we can't get replay, unfortunately. I'm getting the word right now. So clip that and watch it again, guys. If you didn't already clip that, I'm gonna make a video on what Wallace did today because it's insane. This is literally insane. My brain doesn't work right now, and I'm pretty sure that we are one game away from Wallace breaking 3 phones on this beautiful Sunday.
That was insane. That was just crazy. I thought there was no... What was it? A poison cycle away versus a tower at 1,500?
It was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. The first Magic Archer hit, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. That puts it there, sort of. The second one gets in, and then the miner goes to the back. The NATO play to pull away from the miner. Just nuts. And that's the second time today I think he's been one tick away from losing a game.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's definitely not winning the comfortable way by any means. He has been sweating today, but it has been a lot of fun to watch. It has been so much fun to see those match endings. And right now, he's one game away from taking it today in a 2-0 fashion or 2-1 fashion. I don't think he really cares. He would match up against Legolas. He would go into that final weekend beating Mo. And even more importantly than that, has to feel good to beat Mo before World Finals. Yeah,
and it's Tab saying Wallace got lucky. I don't even... How even for a second do you call that luck? How do you call that luck? That's just pure grit and opportunism. I mean, he saw the opportunity, he stepped in and he took it, and you call that lucky? Well, I'll tell you right now, I would put anybody in chat and on this broadcast right now in that same final 30 seconds, and Mo wins that.
There's no luck involved in lining up 2 Magic Archers in a row in the perfect way, having the miner in the back, and having the mental fortitude to know that your tower is ticking down and that you still have to play that NATO in time so that your miner gets 1 hit. That's not luck. That is not luck. That is just talent and practice and just great ability.
And here we go. Snowball exchange here from Mo and Wallace. And, man, I know there's no money on the line for this matchup, but this feels like a $10,000 game.
It really does. This was, I mean, that first match that we just saw in this set was easily the best match we've seen all weekend long, and in a long time in general, just not this week, like not only this weekend. That was such beautiful clash out of both players. Early domination from Mo, and then just catching Mo lacking a little bit. To be honest, he wasn't really careful where that Mega Knight went down, was able to line it up with the Magic Archer, then took advantage of the Ghost as well. It was just, I don't know, that was perfect. If we can get another match that close, I mean, I don't really care who wins at this point.
I mean, at this point, what else can you ask for from Wallace? This has been complete pandemonium, both ways around.
Yeah, and this is gonna hurt here. He has to cage, and then he has to get something else down as well. Elixir is pretty much even right now, but when the next troop does come down to make sure that that mortar doesn't retarget, he is gonna be down, and there it is. Hoggies come in, fireball ready though. Not too bad.
Yeah, nice cleanup on the left-hand side, and now forces out the response from Mo. This is going to come out pretty even here with Mohamed Light having a 1 elixir advantage. And I don't know if he can use... Oh, he'll be able to use it. The cannon cart will go down.
Yeah. He can't use anything there, but overall, not a bad exchange for either of them. Pretty much a tie game at this point. Obviously, that Mega Minion getting taken out by the Musketeer, not ideal for Wallace. He's going to have to tank for it a little bit better. I think the Mega Minion can get a lot of value in this matchup against stuff like the cannon cart, but he needs to be able to use and get more value off of it.
Mother Witch to the left-hand side here. High Mother Witch on the mortar. Not really another option, I guess, for it, but maybe not also what he would have hoped for.
Yeah, and the reason I gave out the OO there is because if that Mega Minion took it out before the cage actually went out, he would have basically had that mortar retarget directly onto tower, and he does have poison in this deck, so Mo in a really good spot right now. They both have the ideal spells for who they're going up against, for the match they're going up against. Fireball against Hoggies, and poison here against Graveyard.
Royal Hogs in and been taken care of fairly easily. A few piggies go the opposite direction. Cannon cart will take care of most of that business. No snout touch on the right-hand side, and now it's Wallace changing lanes, and poison immediately in response.
Yeah, poison in response, but he is...
Must have been a misclick.
Had a prediction, a very odd prediction.
On his side of the board, though?
It was like on the bridge. I don't know exactly what that was. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit confused here, but it does seem like that will probably lose him the game. That is just too expensive of a fail, in my opinion. He has no damage on the board, just took a lot of damage and had to overspend as well. So I'm pretty confident in saying he's not happy with this cycle right now. He doesn't have cage available to him because he had to use it there on the mortar. Sorry, on the Hoggies. And just a difficult match overall.
Maybe he was trying to predict pigs. He thought they were going to come through there, and that's why they're on his side of the board.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was a prediction either to the pigs or the Musketeer or the Mega Minion that ended up coming down, but the Mega Minion ended up being on the other side. And what just happened?
Graveyard, dude. Graveyard snowball. And just like that, Wallace is back in the game. This dude is magical. I think David Blaine might actually be playing Clash Royale in place of Wallace today. As we are down to the final 40 seconds, it's triple elixir, and Wallace has the lead.
I really like this naked Graveyard as well. You saw the poison come out. He is getting a little bit extra damage here. Not a ton, but that was a very smart play out of him. He managed to force out more defensive units on that left-hand side. Fireball's in cycle. I expect him to use it. No, not using the fireball. Going to save it just in case he needs it to get that extra damage at the end. And we might be looking at here. Wait. Right-hand side.
Snowball. Did he stop the cannon cart? The Knight does get in here.
A cage. Yeah, there's the cage.
Oh, my word. Wallace does it. Wallace does it in the most shocking way possible. It's absolutely insane what he did today. But you talk about a guy getting momentum. Well, what better way to build the momentum than a win against Mo in your finals the way that Wallace just did it. GG, well played, and we now know our final four from our last chance qualifier in order. At least we know our top two. We'll find out our third place match in a moment.
Yeah. That is, I mean, I'm happy for Wallace. I'm happy that I pulled the prediction, and You know what? It was a beautiful tournament from him. He had everything from dominant performances to very close matches. He got the best seed, in my opinion, of the whole tournament. When you talk about matchup, no disrespect to Legolas, but I think when you talk about everyone matching up against each other, this is the best seed you can have.
And want to say, you picked Wallace from the outset today, and nicely done. Wallace is your last chance qualifier champion, and we'll move on in the number 5 spot. And our seeds, we'll have those seeds here in just a few moments, and we'll see our final 8. Man, that is insane. Wallace playing some of the best Clash Royale of his life today, and we've seen some great Clash Royale for the Brazilian.
Yeah, we sure have. I'm telling you, he's heating up for World Finals. He is, really warming up. He's getting ready, and I think we have the bracket now ready to go.
Let's go ahead, check it out. Our bracket for next weekend, our $10,000. Oh, that's our bracket from today. Never mind. Here's our bracket from today. I thought we were going to the next weekend setup. Here's our bracket from today. Wallace, of course, look at the route he took here. Joel Mendo, and then Mao. No easy task there. The win against Magma, the close one against Goku, and then here against Mohammed. Wallace had a great game today. Or not against Goku, the win against Magma and then win against Mohammed Light. What a great game today for Wallace from top to bottom. And now we get to see these players again, not just next weekend, not just with money on the line, but next weekend, champions are in place. And here you go. Here is your playoff picture for next weekend. Your number 1 seed will be one of the all-time ladder greats in Wero, followed by the current number 2 player in the world in Lucas. The American Ian rounding out number 3, and Legolas out of the Ukraine, your number 4 player. Part of that, Igor, Dreaming Fly, Lapakati, Legolas quadrant. Wallace, the Brazilian here, in number 5 will avoid the teammate matchup with Lucas. Mohammed Light, your 6th seed this time around. Magma out of the US, your 7th. And Goku making his way in here with a chance maybe at redemption, but he has a very hard out in that first round up against Wero.
Yeah, I mean, Goku lost that 3rd and 4th place match, but I think he won the overall seeding on where you end up. Like I said, Wero and Lucas, both insane players. They're so good. But Lucas is the number 2 throughout the year. He is right there with Mo. He is a back-to-back CRL monthly finals champion. He has been dominant for many parts of the year. So if I had to pick one in competitive play, I'd probably go up against Wero. If I'm playing ladder, I'm going up against Lucas 100%. I am not going up against Wero in ladder. But that loss ended up being a blessing for him, in my opinion.
Well, we'll, of course, see how those all shake out next weekend. We are back right here for the culmination of this tournament, so don't forget to follow, subscribe, turn on notifications wherever you're watching this one so you don't miss a moment of this next weekend. If you're watching on YouTube, we're all chatting on Twitch, brother, so, enjoy yourself on YouTube if you're on Twitch, of course. It's been fun hanging out with you guys. For everyone here at Royale Masters, and, of course, my co-caster, Eric Benamou, I'm Rich Slayton. Thanks so much for joining us on this great Sunday. We will see you back here next weekend for the $10,000 final. As always, be excellent to each other.
There's something different about the way we are. There's something different about us. There's something different about us.